All right, the brake tapping has begun for the drive home, and we've got a couple of obstacles in the way out there. We got a stalled vehicle with the off-ramp partially blocked. This is going to be 24 downtown eastbound, the off-ramp to go 40 east at the split downtown. Also, a crash 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard, exit 85. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
WTN.
306 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. I am not Matt Murphy. What the hell am I doing here? Well, Matt Murphy's getting his bionic shoulder installed today. So I'm going to be hanging out with you all week while Matt is a bit under the influence and in a bit of excruciating pain. Is it excruciating pain? I've heard it's excruciating pain.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound fun.
Yeah.
Thing you got to do is you've got to make sure that pain medication is handy, because when the anesthetic they give you at the hospital wears off, look out.
Yeah. He walked in there sounding pretty confident. I'm just going to let you guys know. He sounded like a man who's walking in there and he knew what he was up against. He sounded confident, but he also, I don't know, he sounded a little glum. He sent me a message today. He wanted me to share with y'all on what he's looking at. This is Murphy. This is from a couple hours ago. So I think Murphy's already been in surgery and is out of surgery at this point, yet not coherent enough. This is when he was a little bit more coherent earlier.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? The fabulous Mrs. E and I are just getting ready to head over to surgery. Very excited about all of this. It's a little bit weird. I don't know, Chris, if you think this is an odd thing, but the directions for surgery say that Erica and I should just head to a RV down by the river, which I knew that this was a pretty inexpensive procedure for all that it entails, but it just says, it doesn't even say what river. I don't, like Harpeth, you think?
Yeah.
Anyway, wish us luck. I will try to check in with you post-operation. Thanks for holding down the fort, Chris. Hope everything's well with the WTN family, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
All right, so that's Murphy from earlier today.
He sounds a little apprehensive.
He sounds a little glum. I think he's fine. I think he's going to be fine. He's not going to be able to throw the ball with the kids, right? You know?
Yeah.
When he sees that wiffle ball game going on in the cul-de-sac, he's going to have to sit that one out. It's just, at least for a little while.
Moving from player to coach.
At least for a little while. I'll tell you what, texting with him yesterday, he's like, damn it, Chris. Why do you get all the fun? This is what Murphy does. He looks at a week like this and he sees fun. And we all know that Murphy would have delivered the news today in a way that only he can. I'm going to do my best for you guys all week long. You can watch the show. We are live on Super Talk TV. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, our personal favorite, YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. Jackson's going to be producing today. We're going to get video up on the stream for all of the audio that you hear on the radio. Just another reason to hit like and hit subscribe. If you don't get to listen to me that often, you're in for a treat. Spoiler alert. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time. But I work at the same time that you do. So you can always catch my show on the podcast page on Apple, Spotify, all the things. You can find me online, Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on Air. So as I'm over the weekend, my wife said to me, she goes, your show's not at 9. She's like, all this prep, it's not going to mean anything because the news is going to change. And I said, maybe. Maybe not. All right, my wife was right again. Spoiler alert. But the one thing I didn't have to change, okay? The one thing I didn't have to change was the opening theme that I wanted to bring to you for today's show. By popular request, many individuals on Twitter wanted to hear this one on Super Talk. I don't know why. I don't know why. They wanted to. They demanded it. So we brought it for you. All right, that's about it. That's all I can do.
That's pretty good, Brother Hand.
Pretty good. Hey, fun fact. While all of this tension and escalation is happening in the Middle East, oil is down 7.5%. The price of oil right now is lower than when President Trump took office. Crazy. Does that mean what Trump is doing is working? We'll find out. So we saw some video a couple hours ago of the air fight that was happening in the skies high above the Middle East. It was absolutely chaotic. It looked like, have you ever seen like the drone shows in China when they do the drone shows? That was like the only thing I could really put my head on and be like, man, that's what that looks like. If you're watching on YouTube, I got some B-roll rolling in the background of these just bombs being shot out of the sky. Insane. Could not imagine what that must feel like being on the ground as you're watching this take place. Now, there were reports of 3 direct hits on a U.S. base in Qatar. No reports of casualties. Continue praying that those reports are accurate. 3 direct hits on bases on the U.S. base in Qatar. No initial reports of casualties. New York Times, Fox News reporting that Iran appears to have coordinated this retaliatory response in a way to not drag the United States more directly into the fight. Fox News corroborated that, saying, yeah, no, it looks like this was all coordinated and they didn't want to drag U.S. into this anymore. And this is been a movie that we've seen a couple times. This is how Fox News covered it earlier today.
Of course, with those U.S. strikes against the Iranian nuclear facilities, those 3 facilities over the weekend, the officials here have been bracing for such a response. Israeli officials, though, remain on high alert, understanding that this is certainly not the end of Iranian response as it relates to Israel. But as for American forces in the region, again, the latest information that we can report attributable to Qatari officials is that there were no injuries in these strikes that took place just earlier this hour. And there is initial reporting coming in right now from the New York Times indicating that Iran coordinated the attacks with the American air base in Qatar. And Qatari officials gave advance notice that the attacks were coming to minimize the casualties. Again, that information attributable to the New York Times, but this is not surprising.
So they're saying that all of this was done, coordinated in advance to minimize casualties. They didn't want to F around and find out, is what that tells me. I don't know what that tells you. Axios is reporting that Trump and his administration were aware of the Iranian strikes in advance. U.S. officials are now saying that President Trump has no intention to strike back against Iran after that failed retaliatory strike, which many are describing as largely theatrical. Again, this isn't something new out of Iran, and we've seen this before. If you recall correctly, after Soleimani had been taken out by the Trump administration in term 1, we saw something similar where a lot of missiles rained down, no missiles hit the target, and President Trump claimed that was theater as well back in 2024.
I had Iran in check. Do you know, we hit them very hard for something that they did, and they had to hit back. They feel they have to do that, and I understand that. Do you know they called me to tell me we're going to hit a certain location, but we're not going to hit it. It's going to be outside of the perimeters.
Who called you?
Iran called me. Iran called for me. And they let us know, and we had 16 missiles went off. I believe it was 16. 6 or 7 failed in the air.
When was this?
This was prior to the attack on a fort that we had where they hit back. Do you remember when they sent 18 missiles or 16 missiles?
Again, this is Trump in early 2024 talking with Maria Bartiromo about what happened in the aftermath of the Qasem Soleimani assassination by the Trump administration, how Iran acted big and tough and wanted to send some missiles down. So that way they could say, hey, we sent it back right at the U.S. and we sure did show them. But behind the scenes, they were calling President Trump to let him know what was going on. I tend to think that this is the exact same thing that we're seeing today. 5
failed. They let us know, don't move. We're going to have to hit you back. Psychologically, we have to do that because we hit them on something. You remember, they sent 16 or 18 missiles, and we knew they weren't going to hit inside the fort. And the media was going, and now I reveal it, the media was going wild because they say it's strange. They're very accurate missiles. How come they all missed? Nobody was killed, if you remember.
Yes,
With all
I
of those
do.
missiles, nobody was killed. Now, they had to do it because they have people and they have to show strength. So they aimed the missiles, but they said, please don't attack us. We're not going to hit you. That was respect.
And it seems like we're seeing a repeat of that movie today. It seems like these responses from the Iranian regime is just another sequel of what we saw during the last response from the Iranian regime. The New York Post is saying that Trump has no intention of striking back, that these were largely theatrical, and he's like, meh, moving on. Washington, this is from the New York Post. President Trump does not plan to take further action against Iran following its failed retaliation strike on a U.S. base in Qatar Monday night, a military official told the Post. As long as it stands, Trump has no intention of retaliating for the failed retaliation, the source said, suggesting that tensions in the Middle East will soon de-escalate following Saturday's U.S. strike on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities. This is good. This is good. Tehran launched a total of 10 missiles at the Al-Udeid air base, 9 of which were intercepted, according to the official. The remaining munition struck an open area, causing no casualties. The source also told the Post that the missile launches appeared to have been coordinated with Qatar, allowing itself to be targeted to save face. I mentioned it with Chad Benson during the cross. This is one of those benefits of state-controlled media. This is a silver lining, right, when a government is going to lie to its own people, because they can say, look at what we did. We sure did show them. And the reality of it is that's not the case whatsoever. The reality of it is you knew we were going to intercept those missiles. We knew nobody was going to be hit by those missiles, and everything went according to plan. Is this the off-ramp to peace that we need? I think so, and I think that that's going to be the direction that we're heading in. Now, I'm not a huge fan of forever wars. I'm not a huge fan of boots on the ground. The administration has made no signals that that's going to be the case. None. And you look at this hit that they executed over the weekend, precision. Just absolute precision. What these individuals in the military were able to do, it really does send a strong message to all of our enemies that this administration is not playing around. I salute Donald Trump for doing it. I wouldn't have done it myself, and I think Trump made the right move. I think I would have had a bit more cold feet than the president, but that's why he's the president, and I'm not. Huge win all around, especially if it looks like what it looks like, this is going to be the off-ramp to peace. But they say, Fox News was talking about this ad nauseum. They said, listen, this is a limited retaliation, and again, it appears that this was done to save face.
The fact that Iran says we fired at the Al-Udeid air base the same number of weapons that were dropped on Iran the other day, they actually didn't. It was less than half. This seems to be a limited response. All of them were intercepted. The government of Qatar was told in advance that this was coming. Game it out for us here. Were the Iranians just trying to save face for public consumption, or were they really trying to hurt the U.S.?
I mean, I think everybody can look at this now objectively, that we've had a couple hours, and say, no. They were trying to save face. 100%, without a doubt, they wanted to save face.
Yeah, John, look, the Iranians have suffered massive blows over the past 11 days. President Trump ordered these strikes against Iran over the weekend, effectively damaging their leverage, their ability to ramp up their nuclear program. What they had left was a ballistic missile program that Israel spent the past week and a half targeting. And so as the Iranians are facing all of this external pressure now from both Israel and the United States, they're also facing a lot of domestic pressure. Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, and also President Masoud Pezeshkian have to save face in some capacity for their domestic audience. And Israeli intelligence officials tell us they do not see widespread efforts to organize in the streets. They do not see any sort of internal efforts to overthrow the regime. But that is certainly a concern as this conflict escalates. There is now a direct war between Israel and Iran. And so any sort of attack on Iranian territory, they want to show that they still have the capability to respond. And on the Israel front, they have done just that. over the past 11 days. And we saw early this morning the Iranians launching a new wave of ballistic missiles, targeting not only civilian areas in the northern part of this country, but also targeting energy infrastructure in the south of Israel. We have seen efforts by the Iranians to go after infrastructure across Israel, targeting major population centers like Tel Aviv. And even when they have their ballistic missile launchers being hit by the Israelis, they still try to launch consistent attacks.
But it does seem like those attacks right now are aimed more directly at Israel, not at U.S. bases. I think that the Iranian regime understands if you go after U.S. soldiers, you're going to open up a whole nother world of hurt. And I wonder what you think about this today. Where you stand on the entire thing. 615-737-9986. I know Murphy loves to open up the phone lines. Turn that monologue into a dialogue. We can do the same thing while I'm filling in for him all week long. 615-737-9986. When we get back, Iranian officials say, hey, we're rational enough to start a diplomatic process after punishing the aggressor. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, what was it like inside those planes? 37-hour round trip. We'll talk about it here on the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, for some time you've been hearing me talk about how great the Glock store is. There's a few reasons why. The Glock store carries all of the Glocks, both factory and custom Glocks. I've never seen, folks, when you go to the Glock store, let me bottom line this for you. I've been in a lot of gun stores, and I've seen a lot of Glocks, and I've owned Glocks for years. I've never seen the numbers of custom Glocks that I've seen at the Glock store. It's something for everyone. There's a style for everyone. They've got all the PBGs, the plain black Glocks at the lowest possible price, but they also have factory colored Glocks, competition-ready race Glocks, rare and discontinued collectible Glocks, beautiful custom Glocks, and the wildly popular Trump Glocks. We gave away 3 of those during the big open house just a couple of weeks ago. They also have the best accessories for Glocks, including red and green dot optics, upgraded triggers, extended controls, and the lowest price on Glock magazines in the entire United States of America. Basically, if it's a Glock, if it's for a Glock, they have it in stock with all of the options. Now, if you've never been to the Glock store or if you've never shot a Glock, just purchase a 10-round test pack of 9mm ammo for only $6.99. They're going to let you test fire any Glock in the rental department, including the Glock 43X, the most popular concealed carry handgun in the United States of America, and one that I personally own. It's my friends at the Glock store, minutes away from the airport, worth the drive from anywhere. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to the one and only Glock store. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Defend Systems. If you've never heard Brink Fiddler on the show with us, he's been on multiple times talking about what a dangerously developing world it truly is and how hope is not a plan. You've got to get trained. Friends, you need training in this world, especially if you're the decision maker at a place of business, at a church, at a school, any place that people gather. If that is a fact for you, you want to train your staff to make sure they understand what to do in the unlikely event there's workplace violence, in the unlikely event that you need emergency and intruder action plans or a rapid response on medical. They do it all at Defend Systems. They are your life safety and security consultation firm based here in Middle Tennessee. Do it better than anyone in the business today. Reach out today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or online at defendsystems.com. That's defendsystems.com. Take it from me when I say hope is not a plan. Friends, it's time to get trained with Defend Systems.
Metro Police Chief John Drake cleared of allegations. We'll tell you about it at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
He said, we don't run this office like Laverne. So we don't do that. I think that was in the official statement.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, this isn't Laverne. More from Ken Weaver in the news at the bottom of the hour. Who the hell is this on your radio? My name is Chris Hand. I'm filling in for Matt Murphy all this week while he gets his shoulder replaced. I'm not sure if Matt's been out of surgery yet, but we're praying for him in a speedy recovery. He'll be providing us updates all week long. Looking forward to that. He's bummed that he's not going to be here with you, missing this news cycle that is just absolutely insane. But I want you to feel a part of it. 615-737-9986. Jeff in Hendersonville, you're up first on Super Talk. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, you know what I'm missing, Chris?
What do you got, man?
I'm missing the beach in San Diego, but you know what? Gavin Newsom, I had to get out.
Well, I've heard. Listen. I've heard, and this is just what I've heard. You don't want to be swimming in the beaches in San Diego because of the fecal matter that Mexico empties out too close to those beaches.
Beach, oh, you can smell it, yeah. And Chula Vista. Well, I'll tell you what. It's on Iran. If I could weigh in, look, I think what they did today, it's largely saving face.
Yep.
I think it's a failure of worldwide diplomacy over the past 3 decades plus, why we're at to this point.
Yep.
I'm more concerned really with, the left here and asymmetrical attacks than I am really on our bases. That's what concerns me a little more than, anything that Iran can lob over some, a landmass. It's just, we had quite a few getaways we know of.
Yep.
And I do think that the collective left at this point is really, to a point where domestic terrorism is a very real possibility.
Yeah, listen, Jeff, you're not the only one with those fears, man, and I appreciate the call. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Yeah, the left, I'm waiting for members of the left to post a little Iranian flag on their Facebook profile pic in a moment of solidarity after the Orange Man took out those 3 sites. I saw a meme over the weekend. It said, he didn't bomb Iran. He's actually just installed the first 3 holes on his new golf course at Trump Dorado, Middle East. Just in case you were wondering. But but just to be honest for a second, boots on the ground, regime change war, bad idea. Lobbing missiles back and forth, Iran knows that they're completely outmatched. They do. And these missile strikes that we saw today were absolutely more about saving face than them actually trying to win anything. It's the kind of move you make when you want to say you did something without really starting a fight that you know you're going to lose. And hopefully this is the end of it. Hopefully Donald Trump takes this as the off-ramp to peace, because I think that that's the direction that you could go, because Iran at the same time has no real path to victory with all this. And it doesn't seem like they have allies willing to step up, which has just been a big fear of mine. Where does this go? Does it turn into BRICS versus NATO? But with what we saw over the weekend, the retaliatory strikes that we saw today, if this wraps up and we don't see a single U.S. military or civilian casualty, it's not just a win that we watch Donald Trump perform. It's one of the most precise, effective operations we've ever seen. Trump, honestly, could have stopped a nuclear war this weekend before it even started. And this is looking more to me like the end of the conflict than the beginning of the conflict. Yet we're going to need to get some separation before we know what the final score is. It's 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. A full report on Iran releasing some of those missiles today, they say, toward U.S. military bases in the Middle East. But first, here in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake has been cleared of allegations he had sexual relations with a woman while on duty in his office and exchanged text messages with the woman on the taxpayer's dime. The Office of Professional Accountability finds the allegations were either subject to interpretation or flat out false. Those allegations brought by Mario Montez Mitchell, who is the ex-husband of the woman involved. She had filed protective orders against Mitchell, and he was arrested for stalking. Now to Iran.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. After Iran launched missiles targeting a U.S. base in Qatar, a U.S. official says there were no other attacks on U.S. bases in the Middle East. The official also says there are no reports of damage at the Central Command regional base. ABC's James Longman is in Iraq, where other U.S. troops remain on high alert and say Israeli strikes have worked to cobble Iran's nuclear and military capabilities in the months after October 7th attacks, along with its proxies in the region.
This time round, though, they have fewer proxies at their disposal. Yes, there are still militias in Iraq that still function broadly in the way that they have been before the Hamas attack on October 7th, but other proxies really have been degraded. If you just look at Syria, which sits between the two countries, of course, Bashar al-Assad, really a key ally of the Iranian regime.
President Trump meeting with his national security team in the Situation Room today. The question now, how will the U.S. respond? This is ABC News.
Yeah, and apparently President Trump has made his first statement on Iran's missile attack today, saying that Iran alerted the U.S. before targeting the military base there in Qatar, and that President Trump says he hopes that it is the only response to American strikes on those nuclear sites there in Iran. Roughly 150 million Americans are under some sort of heat alert or advisory as temperatures climbing well over 100 from the southwest to the northeast. Some regions forecasted to see the highest temperatures since 2012. And the extreme heat will even extend up to the Canadian border. Here's ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
These are the feels-like temperatures. Philadelphia for 105, Richmond this afternoon 108. We could see daily record high temperatures broken from Boston to New York on Tuesday. Washington, D.C. could do it every day the first part of this week.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, the brake tapping definitely underway to make your way home, or some of us making our way to work. But right now, we got a crash reported by police 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard. That's at exit 85. And then a stalled vehicle partially blocking the off-ramp. This is going to be 24 downtown. It's going to be eastbound to go east on I-40 there at exit 50A and B. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Efficient Heating and Cooling understands it's just going to get hotter from here. You probably know that too. Let Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling cool you off if you're not being cooled appropriately or properly in your home right now. By calling Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling, you'll get a qualified technician that understands your unit. They also understand that maintenance is of the utmost importance when it comes to making sure that everything's going to run well over the summertime months and for as long as possible. And that is key, too, because there's a life cycle to your air conditioner. And if you get regular maintenance, you're going to extend that life cycle, and ultimately it's going to save you a lot of money because the breakdowns, they can cost a little more. Now, they don't cost as more with Jeff Eddy and Efficient Heating and Cooling because they never charge you overtime rates at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Call 615-784-4424 and talk to them about their maintenance guarantee. If they come out and maintenance your AC during the summer, during this season, if they have to come back because of an AC problem, they're going to waive the service charge on that call. That's how much they believe in the maintenance done at Efficient Heating and Cooling. Go to efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net, or call 615-784-4424.
.338 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy. I know usually I work at the same time as you guys today. I'm working when you're getting off. I appreciate you listening, however you may be listening, whether you're on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the 99.7 WTN app. Maybe you're watching us on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, our personal favorite, YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. We need those. We need the digital clout. But yeah, Murphy's out. He's got a new shoulder coming. He's pretty excited. I think he's pretty excited about the new shoulder, but he did tell me that he got a little disappointed. You know what made him disappointed? He said he was looking at the shoulder, and he said he flipped it over, and he looked on the back, and you know what it said? It said, "Made in China." And he said, "Oh, no, this is not good." So you got to get those shoulders made in America. I don't know what to tell him. But Murphy's on all week. I'll be filling in for you. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. I had a couple people send me the same meme. Throw the meme on the screen, Jackson. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, you'll be able to see the meme. I made the comment about liberals looking for an Iranian flag for their profile picture. I got like 3 texts. Everybody sent me the same meme. It's disappointed smoking Ben Affleck. Have you seen disappointed smoking Ben Affleck, the meme?
Oh,
of
yeah.
course. Yeah, everybody, listen, if you're going to choose Ben Affleck, you want disappointed smoking Ben Affleck. But it says liberals having to find an Iranian flag right after they replaced their Palestine flag with a Mexican flag, after they replaced their Ukrainian flag with a trans flag. I'm not sure where they missed the pride flag in there, but they missed a pride flag step as well. But yeah, that's the left today. Gotta find that Iranian flag. Now, what are you worried about next? It seems like the retaliation strikes from Iran were theatrical. They were a huge joke. Everybody knew they were coming. No casualties. They're going to save face. So I guess where do we go from here? President Trump commented on the strikes, and you can throw that Truth Social post up on the screen, Jackson. He said, Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected, and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one was set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice. It was absolute savage. just an. It's like, you ever see the meme where it's the Simpsons kids and like if they could read, they'd be very disappointed. Like if they didn't have state-run media and if they had free access to the internet, they'd be very disappointed.
Yeah, because the Iranians, they're not seeing any of this.
No, and that's the silver lining in state-run media, right? That's it right there. That they're gonna have the wool pulled over their eyes effectively, and they'll be able to flex their muscles. The Iranian regime won't be like, we got them. But as Trump put it, I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Early notice, no casualties, theatrics. Is this the end? It seems like we're looking at the end of the conflict. Maybe not for Israel and Iran, but at least America's involvement in it. Does it look like we're at the end? We'll find out. But I guess the next fear that we got to move to, or the next threat level, is going to be sleeper cells. Right? So it's sleep. That's where we got to look next. And I don't know about you, but I definitely didn't. I didn't pack light today. I didn't leave anything at home. You know what I mean? And I would suggest you do the same because the threat of sleeper cells is real because the threat of the wide open southern border from Joe Biden was real. We understand how many illegal aliens were getting in, and we understand how many have a negative view of this country we live in. So are they waiting? And not only that, Iranian-directed sleeper cells aside, what about lone wolf lunatic sleeper cells, right? Like this individual doesn't have to be directed explicitly by Iran to commit acts of terror. This could be an unhinged radical Islamist who feels like the Muslim world is under attack and they're going to show the great big Satan America what's what. So sleeper cells, are you worried about it? Maria Bartiromo talked to Tom Homan over the weekend. This is what that conversation sounded like.
Can you assess that issue particularly? How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America?
Again, that's a little bit narrow, because you don't have to be in a sleeper cell to commit an act of terrorism. We saw that on January 1st. I know the mainstream media swept that under the rug really quick, but we did have a terror attack in New Orleans on January 1st. He wasn't a member of an Iranian sleeper cell. He was a lone wolf lunatic. So that still remains a possibility. Now, directly on Iranian-directed sleeper cells, Tom Homan.
Right now.
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero. Right, zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation.
By the grace of God.
So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people cross that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from because they got away, because Border Patrol was so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
I mean, he sounds a little stressed out. Sounds like his nerves are a bit racked. I mean, okay, let's say 2 million known gotaways, 10% have ill intent. 200,000? 200,000. Okay, all right, scale it down. 1%. That's still too large of a number for any of us to feel comfortable with. So we do have real worry here. A lot of the real worry goes back to the ineffectiveness of the Democrats, or depending on which narrative you subscribe to, maybe it's effectiveness by the Democrats, maybe. But that's a real fear. That's a real fear. Given what we saw today, do you think that Iran is going to explicitly direct sleeper cells to launch into action? I don't, just because of the theatrics of the nature of what we saw with the missile launches, with the letting President Trump know they were coming through Qatari communication channels. I don't see them doing that. I don't think that they want to instigate this fight to go any further. But that doesn't alleviate all the fears and the worry and the stress, because these individuals don't necessarily have to be directed by Iran at all. They could just be radical Islamist lunatics. It's a real fear. It's a real fear. And I think that you should take your security into your own hands and make sure that you're prepared should anything happen. Now, what does that look like? I mean, listen, we offer great options here on Super Talk for what you can do. And I'm not just shouting out sponsors, but like Defense Systems, Brink Fiddler, those guys, great training system that you can get yourself ready for, how to react to an active shooter situation. Glock Store, a great place to train and get a firearm if you've never used one before. I highly suggest you do this, not just because they're sponsors, but because your security matters and you're going to be there first. So take these opportunities that you have and train yourself up, because these fears are real. These fears have been real for a long time too. Like these aren't new fears that we're imagining out of thin air. J.D. Vance was talking about this late at the end of last year. This is like right before the election went down, September 2024. J.D. Vance is sitting down. He's doing this roundtable with a bunch of guys, and they're talking about the Biden-Harris open border. And the big fear that they're talking about, the illegal alien terrorists that could be coming across this border.
There's a lot of videos. Elon's gone down there. Bobby Kennedy's gone down there. You've gone down there.
Sure.
And the interdictions are not necessarily coming from countries in Central and South America anymore. They're coming from places in, near Asia, and a lot of places that you wouldn't normally think people coming from, Middle East, etc. From a national security perspective, what do we think is happening?
Yeah.
Why is that happening?
Yeah. So, part of the reason it's happening is
it's not Hondurans necessarily.
Right. No, that's right. No,
it's Iranians.
It's Iranians.
Yeah.
It's people from all over Asia, Africa, Europe. I mean, look, if you look at this, that is the open door, right? So if you want to come to this country, that is the open door, and God knows why some of them want to be here. I mean, given what's going on in the Middle East, I do worry about military-age males from Iran coming into this country through the southern border. But I actually asked a Border Patrol agent about this on one of my visits, and, great guy, was actually kind of heartbroken because he signed up to protect his country, and he's a relatively recent immigrant. I could tell that by his accent. This guy's like very nervous and very heartbroken about the fact that he can't do his job. And he told me this story, and I feel like an idiot in hindsight, because he's like, we have a guy who came in here. Well, I asked the guy, like, why do you think this guy's Iranian? And he said, well, because he came through and he said that he was Mexican. And I was like, well, couldn't he have been Mexican? And he said, well, he didn't speak Spanish. It's like, oh, that's a tell. Guy from Mexico, illegal alien, doesn't speak Spanish. That's probably a pretty significant tell. But it's happening because this is what Kamala Harris has done. She's created this massive gap in our national security, and people are taking advantage of it.
And we know people took advantage of it ad nauseum. You would have taken advantage of it. Come on, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? If I was an Iranian, I would have taken advantage of it. But we know these people are coming across the border. So that fear is very, very real. What happens next is anybody's guess. I know that officials all over this country are going to be at an absolute high alert. I know that our military bases are going to be on absolute high alert. And they're going to be ready for things to pop off. You should be ready as well, and you should train yourself up and be prepared because, again, you're going to be there first should you witness something like that. So that's kind of where the fear is moving towards now. Is it going to be Iran directing them? I don't necessarily think so, but it very well could be. It very well could be. We're going to see how this plays out. As of right now, Sky News, European outlet, they're reporting that Iranian officials are saying we're rational enough to start a diplomatic process after punishing the aggressor. They're absolutely going to use these retaliatory strikes, and they're going to frame it as a huge win for them, and they're going to use it as a way to maintain control in their nation and let them have that. That's fine. That's fine. We know the reality of the situation. They were absolutely ravaged over the weekend, and it doesn't look like they're going to respond with any sort of force. And we've seen this play out again. We've seen this play out after Soleimani. We're seeing it play out now. Limited response from Iran. Could there be more coming? Sure. Let's pray that there isn't. It's 3:51. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Stink, stank, stunk. I mean, when you go to the typical auto repair shop, that's what you smell. You smell the stinky, greasy rags, and, a lot of times you see them laying on the counter and whatnot, and you're a little concerned about sitting in the seats, but you do it anyway because you feel like you don't want to upset anybody. If this has been your experience at the auto repair shop, another thing that stinks, they're not being honest with you. They keep your car forever. It costs more than they told you it was going to cost you. You need to get a Eurofix because at Eurofix, they take the stink out of European auto repair. At Eurofix, you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection. At Eurofix, you never get a high-pressure sales tactic. They're not trying to fix something that isn't a problem with your vehicle. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment, and you never pay dealer prices. At Eurofix, in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and Mount Juliet, you can get good auto repair at an inexpensive price right now. You don't have to wait for it. Go and call Eurofix today or go online at myeurofix.com, 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX or myeurofix.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Eurofix.
Metro Police Chief John Drake cleared of allegations. President Trump responds to Iran's missile attack toward the U.S. Air Base in Qatar today. And the U.S. Supreme Court just gave the Trump administration a victory in the battle against illegal immigration. We'll tell you about that at 4 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Jackson producing. My name is Chris Hand. I'm in for Matt Murphy. He's out getting a Chinese soldier. That's what he's doing.
It's not going to be as good as an American.
Nope. I don't know. I honestly didn't plan to roll with that today. But Matt's got a Chinese shoulder now.
He's going to be setting off metal detectors everywhere.
They're not getting on a plane with Matt Murphy. That's for sure. Now, listen, we're trying to track down Matt's wife and see how Matt's doing. He had surgery today to get that shoulder replaced. We're wishing him a speedy recovery. He's bummed, man. He wishes that he could be here to talk about this news with you. If you do want to talk about the news, 615-737-9986. That's the number to call in. Turn the monologue into a dialogue a la Murphy. I did see this. I got a tweet here. It's from Chase Down Leads. It's I don't know who the account is, but somebody sent it to me. It's a screenshot. I thought it was funny. It said B-2 bomber flew 37 hours straight without stopping for fuel to eliminate an Iranian nuclear facility. Pretty impressive, right? Pretty impressive. Everybody can agree. Unbelievably impressive. Okay, but listen to this. That same day, okay? So the same day that this happens, a Spirit Airlines Boeing 737 flew an hour and 20 minutes from Myrtle Beach to Orlando without a brawl breaking out on board. Which is the more impressive aviation feat?
Both unprecedented.
Probably the latter.
Okay, we talked last week about being on a submarine.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what these guys were doing on that plane for 37 hours?
Well, and that's like what you and I were talking about. You know, they have sleeping breaks.
They had some accessories.
And they had accessories.
They had accessories. I'm going to tell you what was inside that plane. Plus, I've seen a couple of your texts, and then everybody says, well, we didn't even get the nuclear material, so what matters? It doesn't matter. It was a failed strike. Did we get the nuclear material, or did we not? Depends on who you listen to. We'll break it down for you on the way. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy, 4 o'clock on Super Talk.
Four o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. We've got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And just now in our nation's capital, the U.S. Supreme Court has delivered a significant win for the Trump administration's immigration policy, clearing the way for officials to resume deportation of illegal immigrants to third countries without additional due process requirements imposed by a district court judge. And right now in Nashville, an internal investigation into allegations against Metro Police Chief John Drake has wrapped up. And with some of the details, Channel 4's Holly Thompson.
Now, it determined that allegations that Chief Drake had sexual relations in the workplace were not true. You may recall text messages between Chief Drake and his former girlfriend suggested that Drake invited her to his office for sexual relations. The internal investigation found those sexual relations never happened. A spokesman for Metro Police says the chief was completely removed from the internal investigation and that he will have no comment today.
The allegations were brought by the ex-husband of the woman involved after she filed a protective order for stalking and her ex-husband was arrested. Now on Iran.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. U.S. troops remain on high alert in the Middle East after Iran launched missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar, following those U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities this weekend. There are some 10,000 U.S. troops stationed in Qatar at Central Command's regional headquarters, the base seen by the Pentagon as essential to regional security. The U.S. says there was no impact to the base and no casualties. ABC's Karen Travers says the U.S. tried to hold talks with Iran before Saturday's airstrikes in Iran.
There was a last-ditch effort at diplomacy last week, according to sources. The president was having conversations with the president of Turkey, President Erdogan, about trying to arrange a meeting with Iranian officials. But we now know that the supreme leader of Iran had gone into hiding, concerned about an assassination attempt, and was not able to sign off on that meeting. So it did not take place.
President Trump, after meeting with his national security team, says Iran launched 14 missiles and they were intercepted by the U.S. This is ABC News.
Yeah, President Trump calls Iran's strike today, quote, very weak and very effectively countered, and said Iran gave the U.S. early notice of the strike. The president writes in his social media post that Iran has gotten it all out of their system, writing there will hopefully be no further hate. In all caps, the president on Saturday night signaled future attacks against Iran if it retaliated. Roughly 150 million Americans are under some sort of heat alert or advisory as temperatures climb well over 100 from the southwest to the northeast today. We get more from ABC News Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
We could see impacts to roads, but also it's all about the lack of relief that happens in the overnight and the cumulative effect of this heat. And that's why we've got so many heat advisories right up through parts of Mississippi, Kentucky, into New Hampshire and Vermont.
Right now, the feels like temperature in Nashville's over 100. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Metro Center, police say there's a crash, 65 northbound at Rosa Parks Boulevard. Elsewhere, we've just got the usual brake tapping this time of day, trying to get home. It's building northbound 65 up to the South Loop and then eastbound 440 over to 24. 24 eastbound from 440. That is bumper to bumper down to Briley Parkway. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
407 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy. And Matt's he's out. He's out this week. He's getting himself a Chinese shoulder. he's getting the shoulder replaced. It's going to be made in China. It's going to, it is.
It's going to be a spectacular shoulder.
It's going to be spectacular. No word on if tariffs affected the price of the shoulder or not. But we'll keep you updated on it. Hey, while Matt Murphy was heading into surgery, he did send us this lovely message and wanted me to play it for y'all.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? The fabulous Mrs. E and I are just getting ready to head over to surgery. Very excited about all of this. It's a little bit weird. I don't know, Chris, if you think this is an odd thing, but the directions for surgery say that Erica and I should just head to a RV down by the river, which I knew that this was a pretty inexpensive procedure for all that it entails, but it just says it doesn't even say what river. I don't like Harpeth, you think?
Probably.
Anyway, wish us luck. I will try to check in with you post operation. Thanks for holding down the fort, Chris. Hope everything's well with the WTN family, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.
That was Matt Murphy earlier today, before he's going in for his Chinese shoulder. Have you seen the text line? The text line's going nuts on that. Matt Murphy, now a quarter Chinese. Matt, we wish you nothing but the best, man. Praying for you, a speedy recovery. This is what happens when you got to carry the team all day. Eventually, your shoulder's going to give out. So here we are.
Looks like President Xi is now following Murphy.
Yep, he got a new follower. So we make the best shoulders. These American shoulders can't stand up. You got to get a Chinese shoulder. You got to do it. All right, so... we got a lot of news to cover, a very short amount of time to do it. Inside the B-2 bomber. Okay, so real quick, let me reset the table in case you're just getting out of work. There have been retaliatory strikes from Iran. It does appear that those strikes were theatrical in nature. It doesn't seem like they really wanted to hit us, and they gave us ample notice. So much so that Donald Trump on Truth Social said, "Thanks, Iran, for the notice. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up." They want to be able to save face. That's what it looks like. Hold on. Throw this tweet up on the screen. Do you guys follow Maze Moore? Do you follow Maze Moore on Twitter? He's worth a follow. But he said, during Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, 13 American service members lost their lives. In an effort to save face, the Biden admin launched a drone attack and mistakenly killed an innocent family of 10, including 7 children. That's 23 more lives lost than the total from Trump's World War III. Just something to keep in your back pocket for any liberal that's getting out of hand today. 23 versus 0. Yeah, I think that really underscores who's in charge here. We do have adults back in charge. The military precision was unprecedented, and it sent a message. It sent shockwaves across the globe, what Donald Trump was able to accomplish over the weekend. I wasn't an advocate for getting in there and getting our hands dirty. But if you're going to do it the way Donald Trump did. Get in the dead of night, get out before anyone knows, and leave nothing behind. Breitbart has this story on Inside the B-2 bombers. The mission to destroy the Iranian nuclear facility at Fordo could have only been accomplished with a special type of bomb, the 15-ton massive ordnance penetrator, which can only be carried by one plane, the B-2 Spirit bomber. The bombers made an incredible 37-hour round trip from Missouri to successfully attack their targets. So they left, is it Whitman Air Force Base near Kansas City, Missouri, to Iran over the weekend. Listen to what they have inside this plane, okay? We talk about, on my show, we get a little bit more outlandish sometimes. We were talking about submarines. I could never, out of all the military jobs, the last one that I would want to be on would be submarine. Sounds awful.
100% agree.
Like just, the guys that do that deserve an extra thank you for your service. That just sounds awful. But, do they have amenities on submarines? This is one of the random things we were talking about. But then when I heard the B-2 thing, 37 hours, my brain went right there as well. What the hell is on this plane? How do you get through 37 hours round trip on a plane? No stopping. Okay, so they're stocked. Mini refrigerators, microwave, cooler for snacks. Just like any aircraft that's expected to be in the air for a long time, they have a toilet on board. I don't know if there's a cutoff there. So, if it's yellow, let it mellow. We're over enemy airspace. Don't flush. Who knows? But the heavy strategic bomber is spacious enough to allow one pilot the chance to lay down and rest while the other operates the $2 billion aircraft. Do you think you could sleep? Do you think you'd be able to sleep on a 37-hour round trip where you're going into enemy territory to drop these bunker-busting bombs? First time it's ever been done. You probably know going in that their air defense is severely degraded because of what Israel's done. So maybe you're a little bit more relaxed. Are you relaxed enough to take a nap? Ken, are you taking a nap on that flight?
There's no way I could sleep.
You sleeping on the way home, though?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You think there's a rock, paper, scissors battle to see who takes the first nap after that?
Absolutely.
I'm throwing paper every time.
I don't know, man. They may be so amped after that, it may not wear off until they do get home. And then they just crash.
18 hours of an adrenaline rush.
Wow.
That's a hell of an adrenaline rush. They had to refuel multiple times in the air amid their 37-hour round trip raid, which reportedly made for the longest B-2 mission since 2001, when the U.S. initially responded to the September 11th terrorist attacks striking Afghanistan. For hours, the 7 B-2 bombers had flown in near complete radio silence. Just quiet as a church mouse.
Incredible, man.
Unbelievable. This does send the message that we have the best military in the world. And if you do one F around, you are going to find out. The bombers made the Fordo strike well protected into Iranian nuclear facility, secured under a mountain. The B-2 alongside support aircraft that veered off towards Natanz to bomb the easier target enrichment facility. Meanwhile, those 6 B-2 bombers released a dozen 30,000-pound bombs on Fordo. Crazy. A lot of people are saying, though, did this actually take out Fordo? Differing reports on whether or not it did. J.D. Vance over the weekend on Meet the Press said, no, we got him.
Is the United States now at war with Iran?
No, Kristen, we're not at war with Iran. We're at war with Iran's nuclear program. And let me just say, Kristen, that we're incredibly grateful and proud of the American Air Force pilots who did an incredible job last night. The operation was really extraordinary. These guys flew from Missouri. They didn't land a single time. They dropped 30,000-pound bombs on a target the size of a washing machine, and then got back home safely without ever landing in the Middle East or ever stopping other than to briefly refuel. And, of course, they did that in the air. So It's really an incredible operation, a testament to the power of American military. And I think what shows what can happen when you have that great American military in the hands of capable presidential leadership. What we did is we destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. I think we set that program back substantially, and we did it without endangering the lives of the American pilots. That's an incredible thing, and I think we all should be proud. Whatever our politics, we should be proud of what these guys accomplished. A very, very high-impact mission under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure is an understatement. Have you ever seen, just even the refueling in midair, have you ever seen that in real life? I saw it one time looking out a plane window, and I'll never forget what my dad said. He said, son, that's how little single-engine planes are made. I said, oh, that's interesting. Because it looks like there's this one plane above, and there's a huge stick that comes down and connects to the other plane, and then it just refuels. It's insane. That alone is just a lot of pressure. These guys went 37 hours in radio silence, and they completed a mission that was unbelievable. And J.D. Vance said with confidence he could announce to the American people that their nuclear program has been severely degraded in the last 24 hours. He said that on ABC. Vance was making the rounds yesterday.
I don't want to get into very sensitive intelligence about what we know, but I feel extremely confident, and I can say to the American people with great confidence that they are much further away from a nuclear program today than they were 24 hours ago. That was the objective of the mission, to destroy that Fordo nuclear site and, of course, do some damage to the other sites as well. But we feel very confident that the Fordo nuclear site was substantially set back, and that was our goal.
substantially set back. This is like evolving language around the Fordo facility. I don't know if you've noticed it. It was originally like completely obliterated. Then it was monumental damage. Now it's substantially damaged. I'm not sure what the real damage level is, and we're still kind of waiting for this all to shake out. You know, it's still very new developments coming through. NPR, now I know, NPR, they say not so fast. They say not so fast. And again, take it with a grain of salt. It is NPR, but I just want to bring you the other viewpoints as well. I want these guys to get defunded as much as you do, for the record. But just let's listen to what NPR says. U.S. officials say that strike conducted on 3 key Iranian nuclear sites have devastated its nuclear program. But independent experts analyzing commercial satellite imagery say that the nation's long-running nuclear enterprise is far from destroyed. At the end of the day, there are some really important things that haven't been hit, said Jeffrey Lewis, a professor at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey, who tracks Iran's nuclear facilities. If this ends here, it's really an incomplete strike. In particular, Lewis says the strike doesn't seem to have touched Iran's stocks of highly enriched uranium. Today, it still has the material, and we don't know where it is, he says. I think you have to assume that significant amounts of this enriched uranium still exist, so this is not over by any means. Okay, all right, take that for what you will. CNN, too, jumping on that bandwagon, saying, with this quote from Rafael Grossi, the head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, the United Nations nuclear watchdog, he told CNN that there had been direct kinetic impact on Fordo, but that it was too soon to judge whether it had caused internal damage to the underground site. Saying, and I quote, "Of course, one cannot exclude the possibility that there is significant damage there." A day later, in a statement to IAEA's Board of Governors, Grossi's language sharpened. Given the expensive payload utilized and extremely vibration-sensitive nature of centrifuges, very significant damage is expected to have occurred. So he said that today. Donald Trump has heard these reports about whether or not it was a direct hit, whether or not it was totally destroyed, yada, yada, yada. He responded on Truth Social, and he posted this. "The sites that we hit in Iran were totally destroyed, and everyone knows it. Only the fake news would say anything different in order to try and demean as much as possible. And even they say they were pretty well destroyed. Working especially hard on this falsehood is Allison Cooper of Fake News CNN, dumb Brian L. Roberts, chairman of Concast, and Johnny Carl of ABC Fake News. And as always, the losers of, again, Concast NBC Fake News. It never ends with these sleazebags in the media, and that's why their ratings are at an all-time low. Zero credibility," and he put that in all caps. Donald Trump not impressed with their take on it. So he says, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. J.D. Vance says, no, listen, they're significantly further back in achieving a nuclear weapon after the events of this past weekend. J.D. Vance had a lot more to say over the weekend as well. And Marco Rubio did too. They both hit up basically every single cable news show that you could to discuss the strike that happened and then the aftermath and what to expect. J.D. Vance went on record saying, "We are not looking for regime change, and we are not looking for boots on the ground." I'll bring you those clips when we get back. Plus, Bob and Jim, I appreciate you guys holding on the line. We'll get to your calls next, 615-737-9986. This is Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Folks, I don't want you to be left in the dark if the power goes out. And you're thinking, well, Murphy, how does that work? If the power goes out, I'm naturally going to be left in the dark because I don't have any power. Not so when you have Premier Generators. They are your one-stop shop for all things Generac generators and home generation in Middle Tennessee. Let me tell you about them because they're absolutely fabulous. At Premier Generators, they are the largest certified Generac dealer in Tennessee. And if you look it up, you'll see that Generac is your premier brand. You see what I did there? Premier Generators and Generac is your premier brand. It can be one of the smartest investments that you make. I mean, it truly is what I consider to be an insurance policy, right? You buy insurance with your auto on the off chance that you get in an automobile accident, and you probably never use that insurance, right? You probably don't get in that automobile accident. You buy life insurance, you buy health insurance. Why in the world would you not buy electricity insurance. I mean, that's what we're talking about with a Generac generator from Premier, right? And the odds of the power going out are a lot greater than any of those other things happening. So you're going to get your money's back right now. Free consultation. What are you waiting for? Contact them at premiergenerators.com, premiergenerators.com, or call and tell them that Matt Murphy sent you. 615-439-2992. 439-2992. It's what they do at Premier. They do Generac generators. That's what they do, and they want to talk with you at Premier.
The White House.
President Trump calls Iran's strike today, quote, very weak. And the Trump administration gets a win in the U.S. Supreme Court when it comes to efforts to deport illegal immigrants. We'll tell you about it at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand, in for the one and only Matt Murphy while he nurses back to health after that shoulder replacement surgery. We haven't gotten a word on Murphy exiting surgery, but it's pretty procedurally, normal, right? Like they're ready to go, and Murphy should be in good hands. We'll bring you updates on Murphy as they become available. In the meantime, if you want to get in on the conversation, as Murphy says, turn the monologue into a dialogue. 615-737-9986. Jim, you're up first on Super Talk. What's up, man? How are you? Yo, Jim, what's up, man? Hey, Jim, you there? Yeah, I got you now. What's up, man?
Well, I just wanted to throw a little information in there. It seems that, the B-2 bomber is all exciting, but we're forgetting there's a bigger shift in this whole situation that I haven't heard anybody in the news talking about it. I haven't heard you guys talking about it. And it comes down to the geopolitical shift between Israel and the Middle East. I mean, think about this. There are 3 to 4 Muslim countries between Israel and Iran. Yet these countries are allowing Israel to fly wave after wave after wave of fighter jets and bombers to attack another Muslim nation. And none of them are complaining. There's no Grand Mufti or any kind of Muslim leader coming out to say that they need to stop attacking Muslims.
Do you think that that's? Well, it sounds like you're fighting a transformer in the background, Jim. But I would ask the question: do you think that that's more of a change in how they feel about Israel, or a change about how they feel about the president of the United States?
Well, that's the question. I mean, because it's just weird. Maybe it's because I remember back from the '80s when every time Israel looked cross-eyed, towards a Muslim nation, they all went crazy.
But aren't these the same? Trump went and visited every single one of these nations on his Middle East tour, did he not?
Oh, I get you. I understand that, but we're talking about a strong religious belief that goes back centuries of anger and hatred and murder and all kinds of atrocities. And I get it. No, I'm giving Trump his due, absolutely. But I think that's the story. That's a bigger story than we took out Iranian, nuclear facilities. I mean, that is a big story. I get that. But at no point prior to these bombings did anyone mention that Muslim nations are allowing Israelis to fly their jets over. I just think it's amazing that's not a story in itself. Well, I understand the Saudis are Sunni and the Iranians are Shia, and they hate each other about as much as they hate the others. But they always hated Israel more. But now this geopolitical shift has now changed to where they're allowing Israeli jets to fly over their countries.
I think it has less to do with Israel and more to do with President Trump, and more to do with a guy that's bringing peace to a region, or at least wants to, and a guy that wants to bring prosperity to the region than anything else. Why would you want to screw that up if you're one of these nations?
Well, I just wonder if we hadn't had the problems that we had, prior to him after his first tour, how far the Abraham Accords could have gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but
Abraham Accords that could have changed everything.
I still think there's a lot of gas in that engine, though. I don't think it's the last that we've heard of the Abraham Accords. And to your point, Jim, and I appreciate the call, I think these nations all really, truly respect President Trump. And we saw it when he got the hero's welcome and just about everywhere he went on that Middle East journey. They understand you don't mess with Trump and good things are going to happen. I think that really boils down to a lot of it. I don't see any of these nations respecting Joe Biden or Kamala Harris in the same way that they respect Trump. We'll get to more of your calls on the flip side. Plus, J.D. Vance says, no. We're not at war with Iran. No, we're not putting boots on the ground. And no, we're not talking about regime change. I'll bring you that audio when we get back. It's 4:30. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. President Trump calls Iran's strike today, quote, very weak and very effectively countered, and said Iran gave the U.S. early notice of the strike. Iran sending 14 missiles over Qatar, which is home to the largest U.S. military air base in the region. President Trump writing on the social media post that Iran has gotten it all out of their system, writing there will hopefully be no further hate. The president on Saturday night signaled future attacks against Iran if it retaliated. Meanwhile, Tennessee Republican Congressman Tim Burchett says he thinks the president made the right move Saturday, trying to take out those Iranian nuclear sites.
I think we've done our part. I think we let the Israelis do their part, and we continue on.
Well, Democrats.
That Gang of Eight briefing has not taken place. So the question is, why not? What is the administration hiding?
That is the minority leader there in the U.S. House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake has been cleared of allegations he had sex with a former girlfriend in his office on the taxpayer's dime. The Office of Professional Accountability says it found those allegations either subject to interpretation or completely false. The allegations filed by a man who got arrested after his ex-wife, the chief's former girlfriend, filed a protective order for stalking against her ex-husband. And dangerous heat and gross negligence is what Metro Police say led to the death of a dog on a balcony in West Nashville. The owner's charged with felony animal cruelty. Here's Channel 4's Dryden Quigley.
When Metro Animal Care and Control, or MAC, got there, the dog was already dead. Neighbors told police that even as temperatures neared 100 degrees, they had seen the dog outside for hours at a time for multiple days and nights. Now, LaKandra Moore and Derek Pinkston are being charged with aggravated animal cruelty.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, got the usual slowdown around the loop downtown, bumper to bumper building northbound 65 to get to the south loop, then eastbound 440 over to 24. That is really slow going around that interchange over there. We got a crash reported in Williamson County. A highway patrol says it's 65 southbound near June Lake Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, folks. Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. Savory Spice is located in Franklin. They've been there for quite some time, right off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. I encourage you to go say hello to Holly and David. Oftentimes, they're the owners, by the way, of Savory Spice, and you'll see them in the shop assisting customers just like you, finding the right spices or seasonings for just the right flavor. If you're looking for something in particular and you can't find it at the less than spice shops, you need to get to Savory Spice because odds are they've got it and they can get it if they don't. Plus, they have all the great grilling flavors for the summertime. Did you know that today is the first official day of summer? It's true. Today or tomorrow is the longest day of the year. One way or the other, a lot of grilling going on in and around Middle Tennessee, and it's time to grill with the best. Grill with Savory Spice. You up your food game, friends, by upping your spice game. And like I like to say, you up your spice game at Savory Spice. Go see them, say I said hello, and maybe stock up for the summertime or for the just because with the one and only Savory Spice.
Hey, what's up? Chris Hand here from Matt Murphy, who is out. He's getting a shoulder replaced. A lot of you guys on the text line sending your well wishes and prayers. I'm reading them. They got Matt's shoulders from Temu. Matt has the new Shanghai shoulder. Matt gave an arm to become Chinese, not a leg. You guys are ruthless. Absolutely ruthless. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm going to be with you all week long. Matt Murphy is out. We're recovering from that shoulder surgery. We wish him nothing but the best. You're stuck with me. Normally, I'm working at the same time you're working. If you ever miss any of my show or you want to hear it, you can always find it on Apple and Spotify. The podcasts are always available. If you're listening to us now, I appreciate it, but maybe you want to jump over and watch the show. We're live, Super Talk TV, on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and our personal favorite, YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube chat. There's always a wild, unhinged, red-pilled conversation going on in the YouTube chat that you need to be a part of. And when you jump over there, hit like, hit subscribe, help us grow that digital footprint for the radio station. The antenna can only go so far. The internet goes as far as we want it to. So share the show with your friends. And if you're wondering why on earth you would want to watch on the YouTube stream, we're going to have video for you for all the audio that you hear on your radio. So find Super Talk 99.7 WTN on YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, and join the conversation right now. 615-737-9986. Bob in Spring Hill has been waiting to give his thoughts on Iran. What's up, Bob?
Hey, Chris, thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for holding. Appreciate it.
I thought the planning and the execution of our dropping the bombs on Iran's nuclear sites was excellent. Time will tell, how effective they were.
Yep.
But one of the things that I was most impressed about was the fact that there was no leaks, none whatsoever. And you and I both know the reason why.
Yep.
It's because they didn't tell the Democrats.
Yep.
And I think that's important to know that Trump learned from his first time in office is that if you want to keep things quiet, don't inform the Democrats.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Bob. You nailed it. There were no leaks. No signal chat. No signal chat? How did they get any of this done if there was no signal chat? We don't know. Maybe they use smoke signals or carrier pigeons. Birds aren't real. But who knows? J.D. Vance, though, he highlighted the same thing over the weekend. I believe this was on ABC, this week on ABC. But he said the same thing Bob said. Guys, this was so coordinated. This team executed at such a high level. And, oh, by the way, no leaks. Oh, you want to give me a little audio, Jackson? This is J.D. Vance over the weekend.
One of the things that you saw from the president's team, and I really am proud of all of our guys at the senior team, is an operation of this magnitude, multiple B-2s, 14 30,000-pound bombs, and even an hour after the attack, the entire media, some of our enemies all over the world, they had no idea this was happening. And that's because you had a coherent team that was aligned behind the president's vision. There weren't any leaks. I think that made our troops safer as they carried out this mission. And so it's really a testament to the entire team that we were able to do something like this at this scale without anybody noticing it.
Yeah, and I think people notice now. You don't think Russia took notice? You don't think China took notice? I think a lot of our enemies all over the world took notice. No leaks, just execution. Huge. Yeah, to Bob's point. Yeah, you nailed it, man. J.D. Vance was singing the same thing just over the weekend. James, you're next on Super Talk. What's up, James?
You're number one in the country at talk radio, Chris. Thank you.
Gee whiz, you're making me blush, James. I didn't know. How much do I owe you?
You do enough for us, brother. But I just wanted to say one thing that my fellow nationalists are losing sight of, and MAGA, and everyone else complaining. We have created the Jewish state of Israel over there. They do a very good job with their Mossad and IDF of combating our enemies over there in the middle of the Middle East. So they are essentially fighting our enemies by proxy because we've grown powerful and mighty enough to be able to do that. Our sons and daughters don't have to go over there and fight because we have Israel over there. And you've seen how this joint operation just worked out. It doesn't work out the way it does if Israel's not over there. So I just want people to not lose sight of that. Would you rather be going over here and participating in, ground wars again? It has nothing to do with Israel, the success of the mission taking out the nuclear facilities. It has nothing to do with Israel. I am all for no more new countries getting nuclear weapons programs up and running. How are we going to denuclearize if we keep allowing radical Islamist regimes to build nuclear weapons programs?
Yep. I hear you, James, and I appreciate the call. It doesn't look like they're going to be anywhere near a nuke anytime soon. To James's point, though, a lot of the conversation online is like, "Oh, you're doing Israel's bidding. You're doing Israel's bidding." It's like, well, who says they're not doing ours? I mean, maybe the shoe's on the other foot the same way. Maybe we are just looking out for a friend. No matter how you slice it, J.D. Vance was on Meet the Press over the weekend and says, we don't want war with Iran. And I don't know about you, but the messaging from the administration over the weekend was actually perfect. It was on point the entire time. And statements like these give me hope that this isn't going to lead us down the road to another forever war, that the U.S. got in, they got out. This is J.D. Vance on not wanting to be at war with Iran.
What we've said to the Iranians is we do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace. But we want peace in the context of them not having a nuclear weapons program. And that's exactly what the president accomplished last night. I really think there are two big questions for the Iranians here. Are they going to attack American troops, or are they going to continue with their nuclear weapons program? And if they leave American troops out of it and they decide to give up their nuclear weapons program once and for all, then I think the president has been very clear. We can have a good relationship with the Iranians. We can have a peaceful situation in that region of the world. We have to step back a little bit, Kristen, and remind ourselves that we negotiated aggressively with the Iranians to try to find a peaceful settlement to this conflict. It was only when the president decided that the Iranians were not negotiating in good faith that he took this action. Yeah. He didn't take it lightly, but I actually think it provides an opportunity to reset this relationship, reset these negotiations, and get us in a place where Iran can decide not to be a threat to its neighbors, not to be a threat to the United States. And if they're willing to do that, the United States is all ears.
Now, this was yesterday morning that this was recorded, so he didn't have the context that we do today, where they did launch an attack, air quotes, at U.S. military members. They launched an attack at U.S. military bases. Theatrical in nature. Theatrical in nature. I mean, they're going to be able to save face with their own people, but we all know what it was. They telegraphed the entire thing through Qatari mediums, or mediaries, where they said, "Hey, these are coming. Just a heads up." And of the 3 direct hits on the U.S. base in Qatar, no reports of casualties. Okay. Apparently there was 14 missiles fired, 13 were intercepted in the air. One of them hit somewhere where they knew it wasn't going to do any damage. You have all the reports coming out saying, we knew this was coming. We knew this was coming. And I go back to President Trump. This is after he took out Soleimani in 2024. Excuse me, he was talking about it in 2024, but this is after he took out Soleimani. We saw something very, very similar. And it was just that. It was theatrics from the Iranians.
Happened with me. I had Iran in check. We hit them very hard for something that they did, and they had to hit back. They feel they have to do that, and I understand that. Do you know they called me to tell me we're going to hit a certain location, but we're not going to hit it. It's going to be outside of the perimeters.
Who called you?
Iran called me. Iran called for me. And they let us know, and we had 16 missiles went off. I believe it was 16. 6 or 7 failed in the air.
When was this?
This was prior to the attack on a fort that we had where they hit back. Do you remember when they sent 18 missiles or 16 missiles? 5 failed. They let us know, don't move. We're going to have to hit you back. Psychologically, we have to do that because we hit them on something. You remember. They sent 16 or 18 missiles, and we knew they weren't going to hit inside the fort. And the media was going, and now I reveal it, the media was going wild because they say it's strange. They're very accurate missiles. How come they all missed? Nobody was killed, if you remember.
Yes,
with all of those missiles, nobody was killed. Now, they had to do it because they have people and they have to show strength. So they aimed the missiles, but they said, please don't attack us. We're not going to hit you. That was respect.
And I think we're seeing that same thing today. After the strikes over the weekend, the retaliatory strikes that we see from Iran, theatrics, saving face. But we didn't get here overnight. We got here because we were trying to negotiate for peace. and the Iranians didn't want to talk peace. J.D. Vance explained this over the weekend on Meet the Press. He said, listen, we were negotiating in good faith with the Iranians. We want peace in the region. We want stability in the region. It was the Iranians who screwed that up. And when you mess around, you tend to find out. This is J.D. Vance on Meet the Press.
And most importantly, we trust what the intelligence was telling us about the Iranians stonewalling the negotiation. I think that is really the hidden story here, and something the media has got to report a little bit more here, is that the Iranians stopped negotiating in good faith. That was the real catalyst, I think, to what the president ultimately decided to do. If we were having a productive negotiation, I think that this could have gone in a much different pathway. Unfortunately, the Iranians decided to stonewall us, and we saw the consequences of that last night.
Yeah, and now they're not going to be negotiating from that same place of strength. That sucks. Deal with it. I mean, you chose the bed, right? You made the bed, lie in it. But J.D. Vance said a couple other things during this interview on Meet the Press, a couple things that I found to be very, very reassuring. The first of the things that he said was that we're not looking for a elongated conflict in the region, and we're not looking to put boots on the ground. And for that, I say thank you. Yeah, nobody wants that.
Can you rule out that getting involved in this conflict won't eventually lead to U.S. boots on the ground?
Well, the president's been very clear, Kristen. We have no interest in a protracted conflict. We have no interest in boots on the ground. The president has actually been one of the fiercest critics of 25 years of failed foreign policy in the Middle East, which is why he did what he did. A very precise, a very surgical strike tailored to an American national interest. And that national interest is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It would be a disaster for us and for our allies in the region. So I don't fear that this is going to become a protracted conflict, because I think that we have a president who knows what's in America's interest and is willing to do the things necessary to accomplish that interest.
Not going to be a protracted conflict, no boots on the ground, and he even went on to say that regime change is not the desired goal of the American government, of the Trump administration. He said that on This Week on ABC with Jonathan Karl. This was yesterday, J.D. Vance.
We want to achieve regime change. We want to achieve the end of the Iranian nuclear program.
We don't want to achieve regime change. We want to achieve the end of the Iranian nuclear program.
Well, first of all, we don't want to achieve regime change. We want to achieve the end of the Iranian nuclear program, John. That's America's objective, and that's what the president has set us out to do. The president, in the very tweet you mentioned, or the truth that you mentioned, John, said explicitly that he's not trying to take out the Iranian supreme leader. He's trying to take out their nuclear program. And, of course, we took a major step forward with that last night. And again, John, I think we have to back up and test some premises here. How do you achieve long-term peace? How do you prevent spiraling Middle Eastern conflict? Is it through overwhelming military power targeted to an American objective? Or is it by sort of walking yourself into these long-term protracted military conflicts? I think by choosing overwhelming force, and overwhelming force tied to something that is important to the American people, that is the end of the Iranian nuclear program, we can achieve peace much more fully than if we sort of sit on our hands and hope that somehow if the Iranians get a nuclear weapon, they're going to be more peaceful. That is a stupid approach, and the president rejected it.
Yeah, it's not an approach that the president took. No. We saw the approach the president took over the weekend with the decisive military hit on those nuclear facilities in Iran. We've now since seen the retaliatory strikes from Iran that were theatric in nature, and now it looks like the pathway has been cleared for peace. It looks like Donald Trump has his off-ramp. Where it goes next, we're going to be finding out with you, and we'll be bringing you these updates right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm going to be filling in for Matt Murphy all week long. You can keep up with me off air. I'm on Twitter, True Social, and Instagram at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back, and we'll take more of your calls when we return. 615-737-9986 right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Genesis Diamonds. Have you heard the big news? Genesis Diamonds understands that if you're on a budget, buying that home run gift can really pinch that budget. Well, they're making it so easy for you at Genesis Diamonds. Here's the deal. Genesis Diamonds, you walk in, and on approved credit, you pick anything out in their store, whether it's a beautiful bracelet or a diamond pendant or whatever it might be, and you divide by 60, and that is your cost. Friends, that's what they're doing at Genesis Diamonds. So bottom line is this. It's zero interest financing for 5 years on everything in their store. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to get that home run anniversary gift or that incredible just because or a great birthday gift, and you don't have to worry about it. Just divide by 60, and that is your price at Genesis Diamonds. 2 locations, Green Hills and Cool Springs. You get the incredible value of Genesis, plus you divide by 60, and those are your monthly payments. Once again, Green Hills and Cool Springs, tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Genesis. Friends, how much do you pay for health insurance? If you don't know the answer off the top of your head, might I recommend you call Shane Ring at Cover Nash. Shane's not one to sell you or upsell you on products that you don't need, but you need an expert in your corner to examine the health insurance marketplace and make sure that you're not overpaying. I don't know, and honestly, if I didn't have Shane Ring in my corner, I don't think I would know if I'm overpaying or not. But with Shane on your side, you can find out. He sits down with you and shops the entire health plan market, so you know every health plan that's available. And he can get you a plan that has a deductible as low as $250. I know. You think you heard me incorrectly. You heard me correctly. Call Shane Ring and ask him about it, and you don't have to wait till open enrollment either. Don't get taken advantage of and don't overpay. Take control of your money. Take control of your health coverage managed by you and never by the government. Go to covernash.com. That's covernash.com or call 615-465-0023. 465-0023.
The U.S. Supreme Court clearing the way for the resumption of deporting illegal immigrants to third countries. We've got that story and more coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And just like that, members of the left have gone from the Iranian flag back to the Mexican flag on the Facebook profile pic.
Yeah, they're getting worn out.
Getting worn out. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. I'm going to be filling in for Matt Murphy all week long as he gets the Temu shoulder installed by the best surgeons in all of Middle Tennessee. We're going to give you updates on Matt. He'll be checking into the show periodically throughout the week. And we thank you for joining us here. You can watch us also, Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Why do you want to watch a radio show on YouTube? Well, for my show, I got video for all the audio that you hear on your radio. So it's a little added bonus. You want to see those bombs getting lit up in the night sky as they launch them towards the U.S. service members. We had the video for you on the stream. We got that kind of stuff. So just another reason. Hit like, hit subscribe. Help us with that digital clout. It always helps. And we'll take more of your phone calls when we get back. Larry in Clarksville, I see him. He's probably got a bit of heat when it comes to the Iran conversation. Anything you want to add? 615-737-9986. It's 5 o'clock. Quitting time. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And right now in our nation's capital, the U.S. Supreme Court has cleared the way for Trump administration officials to resume deportation of illegal immigrants to third countries without additional due process requirements imposed by a district court judge. The High Court had unanimously indicated in a prior case that potential deportees must be given due process protections, but the justices have not yet spelled out in detail what exactly requires in each case. And Tennessee Republican Congressman Tim Burchett among those reacting to President Trump's order of the attack on Iranian nuclear sites over the weekend.
Ultimately, this was the right move because American troops are not on the ground. I don't think we will be on the ground, and I wouldn't be for putting Americans out there in harm's way.
Democrats like House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries.
The use of military force, which is offensive in nature, must be approved by the House and the Senate. That's according to the Constitution. It's not optional, Donald. It's not.
Yeah, President Trump calls Iran's strike today in retaliation, quote, very weak and very effectively countered, and said Iran gave the U.S. early notice of the strike. The president writes in a social media post that Iran has gotten it all out of their system, writing there will, hopefully, be no further hate. Here in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake has been cleared of any wrongdoing by an internal investigation of allegations that he had sex with a former girlfriend on city property and while he was on the clock. Those allegations leveled in April. Well, today, the Office of Professional Accountability announced they've wrapped it up and found none of that ever happened. Those allegations came from the ex-husband of the chief's former girlfriend who had filed a protective order for stalking against her ex-husband, and he was arrested. Nearly 150 million Americans under heat alerts today in the first widespread heat wave of the season. We're just 2 days into summer. Some areas of the country could be highest temperatures in more than a decade, says Kevin Ross.
It's actually hotter in New York for the next couple of days than in Houston. And that's telling you something, right? That heat-humidity combo that you're used to in the South along the Gulf Coast, that's streaming all the way up into the 95 corridor. And it is not just typical summertime heat. This is extreme heat. This is record-breaking heat. And this is dangerous heat as well.
Yeah, back here in Nashville, Channel 4's Dryden Quigley says a couple is facing felony animal cruelty charges after leaving a dog on a balcony.
We're not sure which, but police say it was on one of these balconies where a dog was left for hours in the sunlight without food or water. They say at one point it was even so desperate it tried to chew through the metal bars.
The arrest report shows witnesses told officers that they saw that dog being left on the balcony for several hours at a time for multiple days and nights without food or water. 23-year-old LaKendra Moore and 24-year-old Derek Pinkston both charged with aggravated animal cruelty in that case. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. All right, let's see how it's going on out there, drivers. Right now in Clarksville, we've got a report of a crash. Highway Patrol reporting it, 24 westbound just past MLK Parkway. And then in Franklin, an accident blocking the right two lanes of 65 southbound before Murfreesboro Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 5:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy, he's out. He's out all week. He's been carrying the team, and it really messed up his shoulder. So he's got to get it replaced. It's really your fault, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's your fault. You make him come in and day out, bringing the news, bringing the headlines, bringing the heat. It's going to wear a guy down. It's going to wear him down. So he's got to get his shoulder replaced. I've heard from several individuals that the shoulder's made in China. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Matt to get back and deal with that.
Not as good as American.
We're all going to need to help him get through it. Okay? So, Timu shoulder or not, he's still our friend. All right? He's still our friend.
I love the Timu shoulder.
That wasn't even mine. That was the text line. The text line comes in clutch, 615-737-9986. I'm stealing all the best ones from the text line. I'm also stealing memes. Did you see me stealing memes from the text line? If you're watching on Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, we play videos during my show for all the audio that you hear on your radio, and we also bring the heat when it comes to memes. We've been joking about how the left, they're switching the profile pictures a lot lately. You know, they if you notice via the meme, they've gone from the Ukraine flag in March to the Palestine flag in April to the Mexican flag in May. Now it's the Iranian flag. They missed the pride flag in there somewhere. 100%. Maybe a Honduran flag. Maybe.
Potentially.
They missed some flags, but the meme is fire. Speaking of fire, I got some breaking news for you. You ready for the breaking news, boys? Let's go.
This is a breaking news update on Super Talk 99.7.
Ooh, I saw Ken's ears perk up when the breaking news came out. He said, boys, breaking news?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Donald Trump just truthed this truth. You ready for the truth that was truthed?
Let's hear it, brother.
Congratulations to everyone. All caps. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now when Israel and Iran would have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which the point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Woo-hoo.
What about that, dude?
Woo.
What about that?
What? Give me some context here, Ken. What if this goes off? Is this? I mean, what does this mean as far as President Trump negotiating this? And what does this mean for peace through strength? How are they going to spin this in a negative way for the Orange Man?
Well, right now they're trying to spin it as he needed congressional approval before carrying out these airstrikes. But Democrat presidents have done the same thing.
Yeah, yep.
Democrats are just jockeying for anything that they can get going into 2026.
100%.
If this happens, and as the president put it, there's nothing that happens to, derail it, I would say this, all I can say is very significant. And it could indicate that maybe these 14 mop bombs did exactly what the president said he intended for them to do.
I think if this ends the way it does, and I made this statement earlier, this would wrap up the military incursion, right? Like this would wrap up the attack, and it would wrap up without a single U.S. military or civilian casualty. Not just a win, one of the most precise, effective operations we've ever seen in American history.
Yes. And here's the thing. I mean, just this morning, you had Vladimir Putin out there, talking about how the United States airstrike is endangering the entire world, and that Putin stands with Iran. Well, I don't know, man.
Iran's not standing. They're bending the knee. So
apparently so.
It's crazy times, man.
Now, here's the thing. I wonder if Iranians are seeing this. They're probably not. The regime over there is probably going to paint this in a light like, Trump is the one who said, oh, well, wait a minute, we're sorry or something like that.
The regime over there gets the same talking points as The View.
Yes.
It's pretty much how they're going to spin it.
Way to go, brother Chris, man. Dude, you're the first one to break this, man.
That's what I do.
You beat. Here's the thing. I'm not seeing any news alerts from any of our media. Al Jazeera is the only one that I'm seeing, and you beat them.
It's just me and Al Jazeera out here. I don't know why you would go anywhere else. It's like whenever anybody says to me, like, who do you go to for news? I'm like, well, whoever's on WTN and Al Jazeera. That's pretty.
Fox has it up now.
Yeah.
Vice President J.D. Vance is speaking. And
day late and $1 short, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we beat him to the punch.
I mean, I got to say, this mission that was carried out, I don't care if you are a Democrat and you hate this president, you've got to give this mission credit. This was a heck of a performance.
Oh my gosh! I mean, on every single level, from the guys that planned it to the guys that executed it, and everybody that supported them along the way.
Yes,
top notch, world class. How could you do it any better?
And we had more than 125 aircraft involved. What would those fighters had done that were, escorting the bombers? What if Iran had tried to shoot at them? Those fighters would have taken them right out.
How long until we get a movie called 37 Hours?
or Midnight Hammer.
Oh.
Is that what it was called?
Oh my gosh, dude, I saw a meme. So it was called Operation Midnight Hammer.
Yeah, Operation Midnight Hammer.
That was the name. That was the name of the official operation. Okay. I saw a meme, and it was the picture of the body cam footage from Paul Pelosi's house, and the guy was in his underwear with the hammer, and it said, "I'm old enough to remember the original Operation Midnight Hammer." I said, that's a nasty one. That's a nasty one. That's a nasty one.
But hey, I mean, I tell you what, man, if what the president posts here comes to fruition, and as he said, everything works as it should, this is great.
Unbelievable.
It's great.
You couldn't have asked for it to turn out in a better way if this is how it goes down.
Yep.
Again, just to reiterate, this is the statement that President Donald Trump put on Truth Social. At this point, it is 13 minutes old. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final mission. So, all right, boys, one more swing and I'm breaking it up. Is that kind of like what he's saying? Yeah. Well, that's it. All right, boys. All right. One more swing. He's breaking it up. So for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire. And upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire. And upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works out as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Turning to the phone lines now for your immediate reaction and response, 615-737-9986. Our good friend Larry in Clarksville. What's up, Larry?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Instant reaction, Larry. What do you got?
Listen, first of all, I have controlled refueling missions. I have controlled dogfight missions. I've flown back seat in dogfight missions. Even a refueling mission in broad daylight is risky, okay? There can be zero mistakes.
And we were talking multiple. The B-2 bombers going there, 37 hours round trip. You had multiple refuelings.
Oh, listen, they had to refuel 3 times each way. They went radio dark and did these refueling missions in the dark
It's unbelievable.
And I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised, but I'm amazed.
Yeah, you and me both, Larry. I mean, what they were able to pull off, and I appreciate the call, astounding on so many levels. So many levels. Let's go to Steven, who wants to talk Iran. What's up, Steve? How we doing, man?
Hey, Chris. Hey, man. Good. How are you today?
Good, thank you. What do you got?
Good, man. I was just sitting here tuning in, and like right when I tuned in, you were reading the message from Trump, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm all for it. I want it. I want peace, and I want it to be over. But I mean, keep your head on a swivel, dude. I think this is just they're pretty much almost tapped out, and they're just trying to buy time to rearm. You know, I would not take my eye off the ball for 1 second on this. Like I said, I want it to be peaceful over there, and over here at the same time. But this is almost like a surrender instead of a ceasefire, or it's a buy more time so we can rearm and recalibrate for the next thing. And
Yeah, hey, you could be right, Steve. You absolutely could be. I think the only way to prove you're right or wrong is with time. Steve says, take this with a bit of salt. Let's go to Ricky. You're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Rick?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What we got?
Yeah, I feel like the Iran has distributed their enriched uranium at like multiple sites all over the Iran, actually, and they want to buy time basically to go ahead and use their resources to re-energize the process so that Israel doesn't kind of attack them, actually. So my thinking is, unless, how could we have ceasefire without making sure that all enriched uranium is destroyed?
Yeah,
So
I mean that's going to be a huge it's going to be a huge part of it. And that's definitely something they're going to be gathering intelligence on for a while. There were reports that they weren't sure they'd gotten all the enriched uranium. There were reports that they could have moved some of the uranium. Other individuals saying that those reports are false. CNBC says U.S. intel found Iran did not move nuclear material from Fordo ahead of the attack. Senator Mark Wayne Mullen confirmed that. He said, in fact, we actually believe they stored more of it in Fordo because they believe Fordo was impenetrable. So there were reports out there that they had ditched some of that and moved it off site, but then there's other reports and other intelligence to say that that's not the case. Again, it's one of those things where I'm not sure who's right. Only time is going to prove that. Let's go to Mike in Iran. Not Mike in Iran, Mike on Iran. What's up, Mike?
I wish I had that kind of point of view, but unfortunately, we're breaking John Bolton's heart, and the ghost of John McCain is crying right now because it looks like we might actually get some peace out of this. But man, I'm gonna give it about 25 hours before something stupid happens. I'm gonna cross my fingers. I hope it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Never underestimate the ability to F things up somewhere, somehow along the lines. It's definitely a possibility. And you made me sad. I'm thinking about sad John Bolton now.
Sad John Bolton.
Oh, his mustache is soaked with tears. It's so sad.
It's drooping.
It's so sad. It's somebody check on John Bolton. It's 5:21. Chris Hand in for Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Friends, if you own land and you're looking to do something with it, or perhaps you want to add value to it, might I recommend an incredible post-frame building from Stoltz Co. They are the leading provider of post-frame buildings in Middle Tennessee and beyond. Stoltz Co. is the company that delivers first-class customer service with the creation of any post-frame building you can imagine, such as a pole barn, a garage, an equestrian space, an event space, or, yes, a barn dominium. Folks live in these post-frame buildings. The barn dominiums are incredible. You just need to see them to understand them. When you go to stoltzco.com, I'll spell that for you in just a moment, stoltzco.com, you can see a future home. You can see someplace to turn into a she shed or a man space. Whatever you're looking to do, perhaps an in-law suite on your property. It will raise the value of your property, and it will give you great memories for years and years to come. Friends, go to stoltzco.com. That's stoltzco.com, or give them a call and sit down and talk to them today about what you desire, what you dream. If you can dream it, they can do it at Stoltzco. 615-622-5992. 622-5992 for Stoltzco. If you have a pest problem and that pest problem comes in the form of, let's say, ticks or roaches or fleas or ladybugs or silverfish or stink bugs, and there's many, many more. I mean, common Tennessee pests are in abundance right now because this is the time of year that you see them most. Well, it's time to get rid of them. Those pests don't have to be a reality for you if you have U.S. Pest on your side. Pest control is vital in your community. Pest control is vital in your home. It protects your family from the nastiness that is insect-borne disease or rodent-borne disease. It also just is the creep factor, right? You don't want roaches in your home. You don't want bugs in your home, and you certainly don't want termites. They can cause major damage. Give U.S. Pest a call today and find out what they can do for you. They don't pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. They're not high-pressure sales guys. They're just there to solve problems. U.S. Pest. Go to uspest.com. They are the best at U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest is owned by J.K. and Erica Brister, and I always like to say there's two things you need to know about them. They love the United States of America, and they hate bugs. 590-1260. That's 590-1260.
President Trump says Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire and a plan to end what the president calls the 12-day war. We've got the very latest coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
526, that's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got Jackson producing. We got you guys on the phone lines in the text line, 615-737-9986. I see you guys popping off in the YouTube chat, and you may be thinking, who the hell are you? My name is Chris Hand. I normally do 9 to noon. Matt Murphy is out all week. He's getting his shoulder replaced. Unfortunately, they got a Chinese shoulder. That's what they're going to be replacing it with, is a Temu shoulder. I told him to go with American. He didn't listen. He should have listened. Give him grief when he gets back. Buy
local.
Buy local. Buy local. All right, so we're we're reeling off the news that came down moments ago. If you'll throw the Truth Social post up on the screen for me, Mason, one of the things that we do during my show is anytime you hear audio on your radio, we have the video for it on the YouTube stream. And same goes for these important moments. Donald Trump posting to Truth Social, congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works out as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. So I ask you, given all this, and given the peace that Donald Trump negotiated between Pakistan and India, is there any way that this guy doesn't win the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025? Pakistan already nominated him for the Nobel Peace Prize. Is he going to win? Is he a shoo-in for the Peace Prize? I think he has to be, right? He has to be. Now, there's no way that I could have seen this ending in this kind of fashion. I could have never predicted it. I don't think anyone could have predicted this happening so quickly, yet here we are. And I just pray that this all goes according to plan and everything works out the way it should, and we get back to peace and prosperity and working on that as a goal in the region, as opposed to bombs and death and destruction. I think that Donald Trump is the one guy for the job. Abraham Accords 2.0 looking better and better as we speak. So, yeah, I think he's a shoo-in. I think he's a shoo-in for the Peace Prize. And I've gotten a bunch of texts about that on the text line, 615-737-9986. Yeah, shoo-in. Hey, on the way, something that they always do during Murphy's show here at 5:35. We're going to continue that tradition while I fill in for him this week as he gets his Chinese shoulder. And we're going to do nincompoops in the news. I think I got a good one for today. Just going to let you guys know.
You think you're going to win?
But yeah, because you do a winner, right?
The listeners, they vote.
All right, here's my goal for the week. I'm going full Mortal Kombat. Flawless victory, undefeated.
Undefeated.
That's what I'm going to go for the week.
That would be tough for me and Ken because Matt left on a 3-day winning streak.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Jackson came in and had 2 straight winning.
Yeah, there's no way either of you guys win today. Just going to let you know.
Rats.
Nincompoops in the news on the way next after Ken Weaver's newscast, which starts right now.
$5:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. And the breaking news right now, President Trump posting on Truth Social that Iran and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire and a plan to end what Trump calls the 12-day war. This is from Trump on Truth Social. It starts in all caps. Congratulations to everyone! ! It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire in approximately 6 hours from now when Israel and Iran have wound down and completed their in-progress final missions. For 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to what he calls the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful. On the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will, I would like to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't and never will. God bless Israel, God bless Iran, God bless the Middle East, God bless the United States of America, and God bless the world. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court clearing the way for Trump administration officials to resume deportation of illegal immigrants to third countries without additional due process requirements imposed by a district court judge. The High Court had unanimously indicated in a prior case that potential deportees must be given due process protections, but the justices have not yet spelled out in detail what exactly that requires in each case. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. North Nashville got a crash blocking the left lane, Briley Parkway eastbound near Dickerson Pike. And in Green Hills, a crash, Woodmont Boulevard and looks like Belmont Boulevard. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for Men of Valor. Men of Valor is a ministry that is primarily funded by individuals, families, and churches. Individuals just like you. Your support means so much to Men of Valor because it helps win men over to Christ in prison. And in doing so, they become givers in society and not takers. Sadly, so many of the men that go into the prison system, they fall into the gang culture and they further become even more criminally minded. And when they come out of that system, and by the way, 90% of the men that go into prison, they're going to get out at some time or another. When they come out of the system, they're just they're even worse criminals than when they came in. When Men of Valor ministers to men, they turn recidivism rates from over 50% in the state of Tennessee to under 15%. That's an incredible rate of return, and it truly does save us money as taxpayers because it costs a lot of money to incarcerate men within our system. Your support is so crucial, whether it's volunteering in the system, whether it's volunteering in their graduate programs or through your donations. They so appreciate your ability to support Men of Valor and the wonderful ministry that they provide. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com for more information. Hi, friends. It's Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You know, Dr. Kevin Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team, they want to alleviate pain. That's what it's all about at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, is finding ways to alleviate your pain without complicating your life with surgical options, right? Because you want that to be the final option. And obviously, surgery is not a bad word, and sometimes folks need it. I need it on my shoulder, but I don't need it on my lower back. I used spinal decompression. Thank you to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I've made the switch, and so many others are making the switch as well. Right now, you can get your first consultation for just $34. That's in honor of our president, the old 47. They tried to throw 34 felonies on him, and we weren't having any of that. And so, in honor of that, they're rolling back prices to $34. That gives you your first consultation, x-rays, and your first treatment. $34. Go to painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com. The Wellness Institute of Nashville has my seal of approval.
.537 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. In for Matt Murphy all week long. And I'm grateful. Matt's a great guy. He's getting his shoulder replaced. Getting himself a Chinese shoulder. That's
Not
okay.
as good as American.
We told him. I said, don't skimp. He said, I got a good one on Temu. I said, all right, that's fine. It's up to you. You do you. Matt will be back next week, about a quarter Chinese. It's okay. It's okay. Don't judge him. But we're going to try and keep things floating the way he usually does. And I know that during this time has become one of the favorite segments in all of talk radio across the globe, globally, because Matt affectionately refers to it as nincompoops in the news. All right. I'm new to this. It's my first time. Be gentle with me. Be gentle. So, you guys, are we doing rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first? Or is it just kind of like dealer's choice? Do I put you guys on the spot? Do I hang on to my nincompoop for recency bias with the audience? How do we do it?
So we normally go who won on Friday would get to go first Monday. Matt won on Friday. It is also your first time. I got to go when it was my first time. I think it's only fair that Chris goes first.
See, I feel like there's a strategic advantage to going last because of the recency bias.
Ken often goes last.
Does Ken often win?
Ken does often.
See what I'm saying?
But I haven't here lately, man.
All right.
It's been Brother Jackson and Brother Murphy winning everything.
All right. So I'm going to play by the rules that you guys put down on the field until Murphy tells me that you guys have been cheating me. Which... he's going to find out. He's going to find out if you are.
He's probably listening.
So yeah, but he's a quarter CCP now. You can't trust him.
This is true. All right, so I'll go first.
Get it, brother.
You ready for this?
Yep.
Desperate Kansas man arrested for stealing 800-pound cannon from Spanish-American War to settle drug debt.
How do you do that?
With a lot of
willpower?
Yeah, grit.
I bet you he doesn't have a CCP shoulder.
If only he was willing to put the work in to get clean and sober.
Probably more of a PCP shoulder.
Okay, so a low-level drug dealer stole an 800-pound cannon that was used in the Spanish-American War from a Kansas park last week to settle a debt with his deranged boss who was threatening to murder him and his family. Now, before you start feeling bad for this guy, he stole a pound of meth, okay? He says he lost it. He says, of course you did. I don't think you just lose a pound of meth.
That's a lot to lose.
Like, you're not checking your couch cushions for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tuco might have something to say about that. Tuco and Walter.
Yeah, and police, they didn't really paint this guy in a good light. He's a meth user of 20 years. So he's an experienced meth user. And he got a pound of meth. He lost it. It's a big whoops. So he owed his drug dealer $20K.
Ooh.
Which I didn't know. Is that the going rate for meth, Ken?
Once Murphy gets back, we'll ask him.
All right. Then he was threatened. He said, we're going to shoot you. We're going to shoot you and your family if you don't get us the money. And so he said, I'll get it. And he came up with a plan to steal a cannon after driving around in desperation looking for copper statues. He showed up at Riverside Park there in Kansas. There's a massive artifact, been a fixture there since 1900. He said nobody will notice this gun. He said he targeted the cannon because it was in a dark place, according to the affidavit. Pierce then recruited a homeless man. He said, if you help me get this cannon, I'll give you some meth. Don't ask me where I got the meth.
Wow.
Bribing him with drugs and a pipe. The two men got high on meth because you're going to need that superhuman meth strength to lift this cannon.
Yeah.
So they got high on meth, and then they used their muscles to lift the 800-pound cannon off the thing and into the truck. And the plan was to melt it down.
Because he thought it was copper.
Yep. So they tried to get into the bed of the truck. It was too heavy. Next, they hooked it up to a chain, attached it to the truck's hitch, and then they towed it off. When they began dragging it through the streets, the chain snapped in front of an automotive shop, according to the affidavit, and that's where they abandoned the cannon and said, we got to go. And they left the cannon in the middle of the street.
It was a shot in the dark.
So did I do it good? Did I feel like I did it good?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That's a good one. I think I won.
That's the way to go, Brother Hand.
Meth cannon.
Supreme confidence from the meth cannon.
Meth cannon. What do you got? Who's up next?
Go ahead, Brother Jackson.
All right. I got a Florida man broke into a random house, ran bath, cooked dinner to avoid going home to an angry wife. This happened in Polk County, Florida, where a neighbor called the police after a string of suspicious activity, and they found the man identified as Joe. He was 44 years old, was cooking himself dinner, and had just run a luxurious bath. And he admitted that he did not know anyone involved in this house, didn't know who lived here. He had just kind of moved in because him and his wife had had a fight 4 days prior. So this man decided just to hang out anywhere he could that wasn't home.
Do we have any information about his whereabouts during the 3 days before he got into this home?
No.
No.
It was this house. He was in the house for 4 days.
Oh, my gosh. Jeez. All to avoid the wife?
I don't know. I don't want to know what he did.
I wonder what you would do to make your wife that mad. Or you need 4 days off in a stranger's home.
4 days to cool off. Maybe he stole a cannon. Maybe it's the same guy.
Maybe he's the same guy. Stole a cannon.
Lost a bunch of meth.
Lost a bunch of meth, stole a cannon, and the wife is mad. I'd be more afraid of the wife. Be more afraid of the wife. I think I'm beating you. I'm just being.
I think you
feel
did
like
too.
I feel like I
meth
came
cannon's
in.
tough to beat.
You can't beat the meth cannon. Ken, you're going to try to beat the meth cannon.
I'm going to try, boys. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, this happened August 8th of 2023. Mary Hensley was outside her West Asheville, North Carolina home with her kids when a naked man jumped over the fence, looked at them, ran to her back door, and tried to get in.
What?
As she was getting the kids inside, things took a turn. Hensley said a naked man jumped over the fence. I'm literally like throwing the kids inside, Hensley said, and I yelled at him to get out of here. And I asked, who are you, naked guy? My beautiful nieces, like, they don't need to see this. Hensley said the main thing going through her mind at the moment was to just get the kids inside the house and lock the doors. Luckily, the man ran off as Hensley kept yelling at him. Just ran down the road, butt naked. Didn't have anything on him. And was not carrying anything on him either. So God only knows where his clothes are.
He didn't have a fanny pack?
He had a fanny. Just wasn't packing.
Okay.
The aftermath, Hensley said, while she can laugh about it now, it was pretty terrifying when it was happening, especially for the kids. I thought I was going to have to fight a naked man.
Yeah, I mean, a naked guy pole vaults over your fence and is all of a sudden in the backyard. It's a little startling.
Right.
You would find that a bit nerve-wracking.
Right. There would be a shock factor there for a moment. Like,
you'd freeze.
Is this really happening?
Is he really naked?
That guy's naked and he's in my yard.
It was all around just crazy, traumatizing for them, Hensley said. We're lucky we kind of heal with humor. So this fellow was charged with 2 counts of felony indecent exposure, 3 counts misdemeanor indecent exposure, felony breaking and entering with intent to terrorize, misdemeanor breaking or entering, injury to personal property, first-degree trespassing. He was put in the jail on a $70,000 bond. That was 2023. Hopefully he turned his life around.
They said they got through with humor?
Yeah, they were able to laugh about it later.
Said the girls would have saw more, but it was cold outside.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You like that? Okay. I mean,
I thought I was going to have to fight a naked man.
All right, so who you got? Your winner today, Meth Cannon, Florida man who's upset with his wife, or naked pole vaulter. We got some good options.
Lots of options. Lots of different avenues.
Meth Cannon, mad wife, naked pole vaulter.
I keep finding these naked stories, man.
I still feel confident about the Meth Cannon. I do.
Yeah, but there's nobody naked in it.
People love the naked stories.
Whoa. There seems to be a bit of controversy on the text line.
Oh, yeah?
Meth Cannon's been done before? Has Meth Cannon been done before?
You know what? I think Chris Webber did it.
But he doesn't work here anymore.
He doesn't. Yeah, I think Chris did. I do seem to recall Chris doing it.
Man. All right.
Oh, brother hand.
So I'm disqualified?
That is Murphy's rule. If you want to continue.
That's Murphy's rule, yeah.
I have to play by the rules as they're laid out, fellas.
Yeah.
I felt like I brought a strong one to the table, though.
Of course, he's not here, and now might be a quarter CCP.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think we got to play by the rules, though. That gets Ken the win.
All right, it's down to me and Brother Jackson.
Yep. It's Ken or Jackson. A lot of people leaning in on Ken.
Yeah, naked people always win.
Well, I think I'm going to have a good one tomorrow, too, boys, because looks like my mom has found a pretty good story out of Tulsa, and there's a lot of naked people running around there.
It's a lot of, just more than average.
Just all throughout the streets.
It's just like you can't turn the corner.
There's not much to do in Tulsa.
All right. I'm moving on. I'm disqualified. And 0550 also said my delivery was crap and Chris Webber did it better. So thank you so much. I appreciate the cherry on top.
All around.
He said, by the way, you also did it way worse. All right. Fair enough. Salute to Chris Webber. Salute to Nincompoops in the news. My name is Chris Hand. I'll be filling in for Matt Murphy all week right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
President Trump announces an Israel-Iran ceasefire. This story and more coming up at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver back in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. I'm in for Matt Murphy all week long. Appreciate you listening, however you may be listening, whether you're on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, the FM dial. Maybe you're watching us. We're on Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. YouTube's our personal favorite. Hit like, hit subscribe. Why would you want to watch a radio show on your TV, on the internet? Well, for starters, for me, I have video for all the audio that you hear on your radio. Just a little added incentive. Plus, the more that you help us online, the bigger this station becomes. So please hit like and subscribe. Do it for us. It's huge. It's clutch. We need you. Thank you. So as the ceasefire announcement came down from Donald Trump, which we have covered ad nauseum, and Ken's going to have more on that in your newscast, J.D. Vance was actually sitting on the set of Special Report with Brett Baer inside the Fox News studios. As this Truth Social post came out, J.D. Vance was talking about the tensions in the Middle East and how Donald Trump is pushing for peace. Oh, hang on one second. My computer's freezing a second. Here you go.
Seconds ago, the president went to Truth Social and typed this. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. Complete and total ceasefire is what he typed.
Yep.
What does that mean? How did it come about? What's the development here?
Well, we were actually working on that just as I left the White House to come over here. So that's good news that the president was able to get that across the finish line. I think what it means, Brett, is quite simple. First of all, the president, without, knock on wood, having a single American casualty, obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. We are now in a place where we weren't a week ago. A week ago, Iran was very close to having a nuclear weapon. Now, Iran is incapable of building a nuclear weapon with the equipment they have because we destroyed it. So that's a very, very big thing. Now, what that means, I think, is we have to talk to Iran and, of course, to Israel about what the future holds. Because while we have obliterated the Iranian nuclear program, our hope and our expectation is that they're not going to try to rebuild that program. And I think that's what the president is really trying to figure out here, is to build a long-term settlement here to where we can have peace in the region, where our regional allies and, of course, the American people, most importantly, can be secured, but where we can ensure that the destruction of the Iranian nuclear program that has already happened is not something they try to rebuild.
I mean, it's pretty amazing to watch this happen in real time as the announcement comes through. Brett Baer breaks it to J.D. Vance, who says, we were just at the White House working on this, and I'm so glad to hear it went across the finish line. And you can see his mood kind of change where he gets a little giddy, a little bit excited, and it's like you can tell these guys have really been working their ass off for this.
Yeah.
These guys haven't taken this lightly. Sending American jets into Iranian airspace, sending the B-2 bombers, sending soldiers into the line of fire is not something these guys take lightly and not something I think these guys want to do at all. And when you hear that news come through that Trump has announced the ceasefire and J.D. Vance perks up, it's kind of a cool moment to watch. If you want to see that entire clip, I'm going to retweet it on my Twitter account at Chris Hand on Air, so that way you can check the whole thing out in its entirety. In case you're in the car, you're not watching us on Super Talk TV, you want to see that exact moment where it kind of like the light bulb goes off in J.D. Vance's head, and he's like, "Oh man, all right, great, we did it." But he had more to say about what the president was telling him, and he let it be known to Brett Baer.
Attack. It was 14 missiles that they telegraphed ahead of time. We dropped 14 bunker buster bombs. As the president told me earlier, our missiles, our bombs were a little bit bigger than their bombs. Our bombs actually accomplished the goal of eliminating their nuclear program. But look, we're happy, again, to restart the peace process as the president just did today.
Was the message?
We're happy to restart the peace process as the president just did today. This news cycle is insane. Can we all acknowledge that for a moment? As I'm getting ready for this show, I'm thinking war with Iran. And then it's, no, it's retaliation strikes from Iran. And it's, no, it's theatrics. And now it's a peace deal with Israel and Iran. Incredible.
Yeah.
How fast this is moving.
Yeah, I mean, it's it even started out this morning when I got here that Vladimir Putin was saying, well, we'll make sure Iran gets nuclear weapons.
Yep.
He's just mouthing off, I think, saber rattling.
It seems like a lot of folks are doing the saber rattling, and it's a lot of people that don't have any inside information. They're not in those conversations. They just want to scream about things. The View was doing that earlier. Did you see The View?
Oh, I could imagine.
The View, they had something to say. So is this constitutional? They actually had Jonathan Carl on from ABC. And even old Johnny Carl had to say, ladies,
yeah,
calm down. I'll bring you that when we get back.
He was actually a journalist, was he?
I wouldn't go that far. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. I'll bring you the audio. I'll bring you the audio next. It's 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes.
This is a special report from ABC News. I'm Michelle Franzen. Iran launched missiles aimed at a key U.S. base in Qatar today in response to the U.S. strikes on 3 nuclear facilities in Iran this weekend. The U.S. and Qatar intercepted today's missiles. In a social media post, President Trump says it's time for a de-escalation.
President Trump calls Iran's strike on Al Udeid air base in Qatar, quote, very weak and very effectively countered, and said Iran gave the U.S. early notice of the strike. The president writes in a social media post that no Americans were injured, adding, quote, hardly any damage was done. Mr. Trump says in his post that Iran has gotten it all out of their system, writing, there will hopefully be no further hate. The president on Saturday night signaled future attacks against Iran if it retaliated. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Iran, after it launched the missiles, says it will carry out its nuclear program and will not surrender. This is ABC News.
Well, this report apparently was produced before what President Trump posted to Truth Social, which reads, congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire that will lead to an end of what the president calls the 12-day war. We'll keep you advised. Stay with Super Talk 99.7 WTN. For updates on air and online. Well, the Supreme Court is clearing the way today for Trump administration officials to resume deportation of illegal immigrants to third countries without additional due process requirements imposed by a district court judge. The High Court had unanimously indicated in a prior case that potential deportees must be given due process protections, but the justices have not yet spelled out in detail what exactly that requires in each case. And here in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake's been cleared of allegations he had sexual relations with a woman while on duty in his office and exchanged text messages with the woman on the taxpayer's dime. Channel 4's Holly Thompson.
Now, it determined that allegations that Chief Drake had sexual relations in the workplace were not true. You may recall text messages between Chief Drake and his former girlfriend suggested that Drake invited her to his office for sexual relations. The internal investigation found those sexual relations never happened. A spokesman for Metro Police says the chief was completely removed from the internal investigation and that he will have no comment today.
Yeah, those allegations were brought by Mario Montez Mitchell, who is the ex-husband of the woman involved. She had filed protective orders against Mitchell, and he was arrested for stalking. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. T-Dot says there's a crash in Clarksville blocking the left lane, 24 westbound past MLK Parkway. In Goodlettsville, police reporting a crash, 65 northbound at Rivergate. And in Franklin, police reporting a crash, 65 southbound before I-840. Berry Hill, police reporting a crash, 440 eastbound at 65. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.606 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. I'm not Matt Murphy. Matt's getting his shoulder replaced. They're replacing it with a shoulder made in China. I hate to break it to you. Matt Murphy's going to be a quarter CCP when he gets back. But he's been carrying the team, and it's taken a toll on his body. So he's got to get it fixed, and I'm going to be here with you all week long. Grateful for the opportunity to do so. A lot of the times I'm working at the same time you're working. My show's 9 to noon, Monday through Friday. If you don't get a chance to listen, you can always listen to my show on the podcast page, Apple, Spotify, or the 99.7 WTN app. And you can always keep up with me off air when I'm online. Twitter, True Social, and Instagram. All of them are the same handle, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. Appreciate you allowing me to be here with you today. When I was texting with Murphy last night before he was heading into surgery, he's like, man, he was so bummed. He was so bummed. He wanted to be in here. He wanted to be talking about the news with you guys. There's a lot to get to. And just trust me, Murphy would much rather be with you today here than in surgery, but he can't be. Lindsey Graham is very upset. He's very upset. About an hour ago, he was still opining for regime change on the House floor. Oh,
why do they do what they do? Religious, fanatical beliefs, a master religion for the world. And if you don't believe that, you have missed a lot. That's what they want, and the only way they're not going to get there is for somebody to stop them. What did Hitler want? To take over the entire world and create a master race. Anybody that didn't fit his definition of the right kind of person was imprisoned or killed. The Ayatollah and his henchmen have that same view, but it's religiously driven.
So still Lindsey Graham pushing for regime change while Donald Trump is greasing the wheels towards peace in the region. Abraham Accords 2.0. Anybody? Lindsey Graham's going to have a tough night. Mark Levin probably going to have a tough night. Maybe they'll be happy with this. I don't think they will. The regime change guys want regime change. J.D. Vance has been out there saying we're not doing regime change. Trump flirted with it on True Social. Like maybe the people want regime change. He's not going to actively go in there and push for regime change. I don't think. I think the base would absolutely erupt. But what he did do was strategic surgical strikes. And as we're coming in to do the show today, it's, like 1 o'clock, and boom, retaliatory strikes from Iran. And we find out that those were very theatric in nature. Very theatric. They telegraphed the entire thing to the U.S. This is where they're coming. This is where we're aiming them. Make sure you guys aren't in there. 0 casualties, by the way. 0 casualties. And then we find out, what was it, about an hour ago? Donald Trump has negotiated a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. An unbelievable turn of events in the last 24 hours. Unbelievable. Just across the board. The strategic hit, the negotiating behind the scenes, the not giving in to the neocons and the calls for more, to being reserved. He was, make no mistake about it, Donald Trump was very reserved in his response to Iran. He handled it perfectly. Perfectly. I couldn't ask for more. This is how you do things. Donald Trump. And he did it so well that people are upset. The View was talking about Trump earlier today. The View, they're really upset that Trump didn't wait the 2 weeks. Remember he said on True Social, within 2 weeks, you'll have my decision. Within 2 weeks. The View was very upset that we didn't make it to 2 weeks.
I'm happy to have you here. Believe me.
They have Jonathan Carlin. They have a real journalist on The View, so they're very excited.
So on Thursday, the White House said that Trump was going to make a decision on Iran within the next 2 weeks. That's what he said. Remember that? Okay. He was going to give diplomatic negotiations more time to play out, and then less than 48 hours later, this attack was underway. So what changed?
Joy Behar can't comprehend within 2 weeks. Within. Inside the 2 weeks. It's any day range.
Start and end point.
1 to 14. Could have been any of them. What changed? Nothing. He actually did exactly what he said he was going to do. Jonathan Carl.
And what was he actually trying to accomplish here?
I mean, look, the 2 weeks measure was clearly a bit of a head fake. I mean, not entirely. I wouldn't say the decision was finally made. All indications are he didn't actually make the decision to so-called pull the trigger until Saturday, and then the attack commenced. But obviously, all the wheels were already in motion. In fact, the wheels were in motion a full week beforehand. Shortly after the Israelis made their attack the previous Friday, the president saw it as a sweeping success. I mean, he was very excited about it. I spoke to him that morning, and he said, this is excellent. He was no longer saying the Americans weren't involved. He was taking credit for American weaponry being part of it. He was clearly ready to go, but there was a last-minute push for some kind of a diplomatic resolution. He really wanted that moment. I mean, I think he thought he could have a Kim Jong-un moment with the supreme leader of Iran and have a big deal right before the bombs were going to drop. The Iranians were not engaging at all, and he made the decision.
The Iranians weren't engaging at all, so Donald Trump had to make the decision. Did you hear it? Did you notice in the audience, and I don't know, maybe I'm like paying too close attention, but when he said he really wanted to have a moment, like a Kim Jong-un moment, you kind of heard a chuckle from the audience, like, ha, ha, ha. Donald Trump thinks he's going to get that moment. This is just what, 6 hours ago? This is right around noon Eastern time in New York that they recorded this. They aired this. Donald Trump's going to have a Kim Jong-un moment. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, ha, ha. 6 hours later, 5 hours later, 4 hours later, whatever it was. By the way, ceasefire incoming. Ha, ha, ha. Donald Trump thinks he can negotiate peace. Ha, ha, ha. He did. Weird how that works out. And the left is going to be very upset about this. Make no mistake about it. They're already very upset about this. AOC is calling to impeach Trump. Impeach him. We should allow our enemies to have nuclear weapons. Impeach him. That's what they're doing. Now, listen, I wasn't like gung ho about military intervention, but you got to trust the guy that you went to the dance with. And Donald Trump has given us no reason not to trust him at this point. None. The left will say impeach him. AOC, impeach him. Okay. They're going to do this. Why would AOC want to impeach Donald Trump? Well, because he's conducting war and he doesn't have congressional approval. Obviously, he needs to get Congress's approval. Yet when Obama drops 26,000 plus bombs on Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, Libya, Yemen, Somalia, and Pakistan without congressional approval, nobody bats an eye. That's totally good. We're cool with that. That's fine. Donald Trump drops 36 bombs without congressional approval. Oh my gosh, everybody loses their mind. It's like the Joker. You ever do the Joker, The Dark Knight? If everything goes according to plan, the left is fine. Right? Even if that plan involves their president bombing other countries without congressional approval, that's totally good. No worries. Nothing to see here. But the minute Donald Trump does it, it's orange man bad. We can't keep letting him get away with this. Byron Donalds is not playing those games. Byron Donalds went on Fox Business earlier today, and he's saying Trump did the right thing.
AOC is calling for Trump to be impeached. That's really highly unlikely, isn't it, Congressman?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, again with her. So stupid, so ridiculous.
Can you just hear the frustration again with her? Again. Listen, by all means, if you want the face of your party to be AOC and Jasmine Crockett and Hakeem Jeffries, Dollar Store Obama, old Buck Obama, Timu Obama. By all means. But like, you can even hear it in his voice, like, are we doing this again? We're doing again with her, again with AOC, and I know if you're not watching on the stream, you're not seeing the video, but you can feel the eye roll. You can feel it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, again with her. So stupid, so ridiculous. All this is just, trying to say something to get on TV or have a soundbite that gets carried in media. The Democrats didn't say anything when Barack Obama launched airstrikes against Libya. When Barack Obama launched airstrikes against Syria, they did nothing. They were quiet. They cheered him on, so on and so forth. The President of the United States does have constitutional authority for strikes when it comes to military force. That's why they're the commander-in-chief. And so a lot of colleagues on Capitol Hill, they're talking about the War Powers Act. But the War Powers Act is something that's been litigated in court time and time again, and it does not obstruct a president of the United States from using military assets when they are in the key national interest. And I will add, one of the things that is crystal clear is that the Iranians were trying to actually create nuclear weapons. There's a reason why they have a ballistic weapon system, ballistic missiles weapon systems. There's a reason why they were trying to create ICBMs. And that was simply not to just have things they can light off as fireworks in the sky above the skies of Tehran. They wanted it to be able to flex their power in that region and around the globe. And since they are a terror factory, that is a fact. We simply could not let that happen.
No, but the left can't handle that, right? Like just some calm explanation as to why you conducted the strike. No, it's too much for them. Obama says, "Yeah, I'm gonna drone bomb some kids." Then it's totally cool. That's great. That's great. Drone bombing kids, thumbs up. Hitting nuclear enrichment sites, that's a bridge too far. You need congressional approval. Are you tracking? The left has a huge issue with that. No U.S. service members killed. The left is very upset. 13 in Afghanistan, not a problem. Are you following? No civilian casualties. The left is very upset. Biden goes after, what was it, a family coming back from like a wedding. They got 10 people, like 7 of them were kids. Not a peep from the left. Donald Trump, none of that. No, none of that. No casualties. No military casualties. Nothing went wrong. Everything according to plan. And now we have a ceasefire in place. Everybody's going to lose their mind. They already are. Hakeem Jeffries, I mentioned him a moment ago. He was very upset. He found a podium as quickly as he could. It's just like, I wonder if they keep one by him just in case he gets upset, because anytime something goes wrong, Buck Obama, Timu Obama over here, he finds a podium. And after the strike from Trump on the Iran nuclear facilities, he had this to say.
Donald Trump and his actions, which do not appear to be consistent with the United States Constitution, takes unilateral offensive military action without seeking the approval of the United States Congress. The use of military force, which is offensive in nature, must be approved by the House and the Senate. That's according to the Constitution. It's not optional, Donald.
Unless you're Barack Obama and you want to drone bomb some kids, that's fine. It's fine. It's totally cool. Unless you're Joe Biden and you're going to get some service members killed and you're going to then drone bomb in retaliation a wedding party. No, it's fine.
It's not. The framers of the Constitution actually gave Congress the power to declare war for a reason. So the American people, through their elected representatives, would have the opportunity to debate the issue and make some decisions as it relates to what's in the best interest and the national security of the American people.
I think Donald Trump did what was in best interest of the American people and what was in the best interest of our national security. And I think that's playing out on full display here this evening. And we're going to have a lot more on this on Super Talk all day tomorrow and this evening. I know Mark Levin is going to be very ginned up to talk about this, and I'm excited to see what he has to say. But that'll be on the way as well. But, yeah, Donald Trump does it. This is awful. Obama does it. This is great. Donald Trump does it. This is terrible. Biden does it. This is amazing. It's also tiresome. It's also predictable. We'll bring you it all here as it develops on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy for USS, United Structural Systems. USS is going to keep your home stable and dry, and they've been doing so since 1994. Our friends at USS are the best in the business when it comes to foundation repair, waterproofing repair, and making sure that your home is exactly as it should be. You know, typically homes are going to settle. That's a natural occurrence. But if the settling happens in such a way where it causes stair-step cracks in the masonry or mortar joints, or perhaps you've noticed a musty or moldy smell in the basement or crawl space. Maybe a door is sticking, a window is sticking. These are all signs of problems in your home, and it's a sign that you need to call USS, United Structural Systems. They guarantee their best at USS, and they've been keeping homes stable and dry since 1994, almost 30,000 satisfied customers. Call 615-488-7855, 488-7855 for USS, United Structural Systems. The Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center wants to see you. Dr. Brian McLaughlin is now in charge of the Sleep Apnea and TMJ Solution Center, and he comes with the same exceptional credentials as Dr. Stephen Poss, who started the company so many years ago. With 2 locations in Murfreesboro and Brentwood to serve you, if you can't wear a CPAP machine and have mild to moderate sleep apnea, there is an FDA-approved oral device that gently supports your jaw. It helps you be able to breathe better, snore less, without any hose and any mask. Friends, many people have met their insurance deductibles, and if you want to maximize your insurance, don't wait. Start treating your sleep apnea and snoring today. They're in network with BCBS, Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare, Medicare. They're a preferred provider with TRICARE for our military. Once again, 2 locations to serve you at your convenience, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. Go see Brian McLaughlin and his team today. At TennesseeSleep.com, you can find out more information. Once again, Murfreesboro and Brentwood, TennesseeSleep.com. That's TennesseeSleep.com.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 625, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Where is Matt Murphy? Slacking. He's slacking.
Oh, yeah.
Just letting it breathe. He's just slacking. No. Matt, I actually just got an update from Erica. Miss E.
How's he doing?
You ready for this? He just got out of surgery. I got that text at 6:21. Just got out of surgery. They said it was the worst case of bone spurs buildup they had ever seen. Ever. Murphy does things big.
Go big or go home.
He said, I'm going to wait a couple more weeks just to make sure that this is the worst one they've ever seen. They said it was the worst case of bone spurs buildup they'd ever seen, which is why it took so long. He's in recovery now, so hopefully they'll get him out of that hospital soon. And we're praying for you, Matt, and we hope that Chinese shoulder holds up as good as the real thing, because he got it from Temu.
Great deals.
Great deals. I told Matt's wife. I said when he comes to, let him know I've been telling people his new shoulder's from China. She said, perfect. Perfect. He went into surgery at 1:00 and he didn't get out until 6:20. Dude, that's unbelievable.
That's insane.
Holy cow. I'm still texting with Erica right now. Holy cow. 5 hours and 20 minutes of surgery. 5 hours. Well, you know what happened, right? They probably ran through 2 or 3 of those Chinese shoulders, and as they're trying to get him in there, they're breaking.
They're breaking. Yeah, they're just snapping off, right?
Yeah, it's we got to get another one. Good thing we buy these things in bulk. So that's your update on Matt Murphy. He will be back probably next week. But listen, when you carry the team, it's gonna wear and tear on your body. Murphy's shoulder has been seriously degraded, so they had to replace it with a Chinese implant. So that's your Murphy update. 5.5 hours of surgery.
That's insane. I think he talked on Friday about it being like a 2 to 3 hour kind of thing. So
No.
he was in there for a while longer.
He grossly underestimated that thing. Grossly underestimated it. So, all right, prayers up for Matt Murphy. If we got any prayer warriors out there, pray for that guy. Give him a speedy recovery because he's got to get back here. I don't want to do this show that often. I want to get back to my 9 to 12 cozy where I can prep the night before. Nothing really changes.
And it gets dark. You're like, we'll be out of here. It'll be dark.
That's crazy. I don't know how he does it. They said they had to be there at 11, 1:00 surgery, was supposed to take 3 hours, 5.5 hours. The surgeons looked worn out.
Oh, they were tired. They're sweating. Just
Oh my gosh. Doesn't sound fun. Doesn't sound fun. We'll have updates from Murphy as the week goes along. And hey, if you never get to tune into my show from 9 to noon, during the last segment of every show, we do a thing that we like to call the lightning round. And I'm going to be bringing the lightning round to you. We're going to do this after Ken Weaver's newscast. What I do in the lightning round is anything we talked about during the day, anything we didn't talk about, you want to get a last-minute hot take in, now's your opportunity, 615-737-9986. Get on the phone line now with your last-minute hot take. We'll also run through the headlines that we didn't have a time to get to during the show or headlines that really couldn't fill up a whole segment. So we're going to run through the biggest stories of the day that you might have missed. We'll take your hot takes, your cold takes, anything in between as well at 615-737-9986. And we'll get the lightning round to you when we return. Right now, the news from Ken Weaver on Super Talk.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Alpha and Omega Computer Consultants. Alpha and Omega is not new to the managed services industry. They have been around serving Middle Tennessee, small, medium, and large-sized businesses with incredible and exceptional IT service and cybersecurity since 1998, and I'm proud to be able to tell you all about them. Their services include 24/7 protection from evolving threats, compliance for all industries, business continuity, fast local help desk support. 70% of cyber attacks target small to medium-sized businesses. If you don't think you can be attacked, you need to call Alpha and Omega and talk to one of their incredible consultants. Because if you call, they can tell you some of the issues that they've seen over the past several years that potentially could come after you. If you're a business owner, 14 successful ransomware attacks happen every day. Think about that. 14 successful ransomware attacks. Call Alpha and Omega to avoid being one of the 14. If you're renewing your annual IT contract, don't settle for the same old support. Alpha and Omega delivers fewer problems, faster response, and service that actually works. Call now for a free quote. Friends, if you're a business owner, you owe it to yourself to have a conversation with our buddies at Alpha and Omega. 615-784-0096. 784-0096, or go to ANDO.net. That's the letter A and the letter O.net. Tennessee Men's Clinic is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. Obviously, gentlemen, I encourage you to go there. I encourage you to give them a call and make an appointment for one of their qualified urologists. Whatever your situation might be, if it is energy-related, if you're just not seeing gains at the gym, if you're just not motivated to get to the gym, or perhaps that energy is you're losing a step or two for bedroom activity. I understand that's a sensitive topic for a lot of guys, but men, you don't have to talk to me about it. You need to talk to Tennessee Men's Clinic about it, because they have solutions for you. They can get you back right again, back on the path again. All you need to do is make the call that so many others have made to Tennessee Men's Clinic. Thousands of men have been assisted by Evan Bass and his team at Tennessee Men's Clinic. Go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com or stop by either of those two locations. You can schedule an appointment there too. Cool Springs and the original Midtown location, been there since 2014. They can offer you solutions, get you back to the energy levels that you've become accustomed to. Come on, guys. Let's do this for you and your intimacy with your spouse. Call at 615-208-9090, 208-9090 for the Tennessee Men's Clinic.
.636 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you, I do that during my show. My bad. I'm filling it for Murphy all week, so it's a different sponsor. Murphy's getting surgery on his shoulder. 5.5 hours they had him in surgery today. Worst case of bone spurs in buildup they'd ever seen. 5.5 hours in surgery. I'm here to report to you that Matt Murphy is officially out of surgery and should be rejoining the broadcast at some point next week. We're going to give him all the time that he needs to recover. And in the meantime, I'll be here with you filling in. I appreciate you tuning in for as much or as little of the program as you can. Now, we're going to do something that we do on my show every day in the last segment, where I like to call it the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
It's quickly becoming a fan favorite. People like it or they hate it. So I guess it's a fan favorite. What we do is we run through all the stories that wouldn't either fill up a segment or we didn't get to, and we give you an opportunity for your last-minute hot takes or cold takes 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. If you got anything that you want to weigh in on, now's the time to call. This is the lightning round. Oh, yeah, you got it, Jackson. You got it, man. It's lightning, not thunder, by the way, in case you were keeping score at home. That's lightning. Thank you. All right, so first story in the lightning round. News as it's presented versus news as it is. Put this tweet up on the screen. This is from a local news station in Los Angeles. KTLA, hard-hitting news. Local, live and local, KTLA. So they put up a tweet. And I was like, oh, man, that's crazy. Because it's got some video to it. And these guys are just whooping on this dude. And it says, in a graphic video that has since gone viral on social media, about 7 or more masked men wearing U.S. Border Patrol vests are seen violently detaining a Santa Ana father before forcing him in the back of an unmarked car. What? That's somebody's dad. You can't do that with masks on and Border Patrol vests. What are you doing? It's crazy. So I was like, I need to find out more about this story. So I hit the link. And listen, they had to edit this because of a response from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. So this is how KTLA poses it in the beginning. In a video circulating on social media, a group of masked U.S. Border Patrol agents is seen striking and subduing a man in Santa Ana before forcing him into the back of an unmarked car on Saturday. These incidents sparked protests in the following hours, and an online fundraiser was started through GoFundMe, where family members identified the victim as a Tustin resident, Narciso Barranco, a father to 3 sons who are all U.S. Marines. Oh, what happened to this guy? It's heartbreaking. And I looked at the GoFundMe, man. They raised $109,000 already. Whew! $109,000. Like, this guy must have just been beaten up for no reason, right? It's funny you mentioned that, because if you actually did any research at all, you'll quickly find out that the man who was beaten by Border Patrol agents was also chasing Border Patrol agents with a weed whacker. And they left that out of the news story entirely. Yeah. I mean, that's an important nugget that you should have put in the newscast. That he was chasing those Border Patrol agents with a weed whacker. They had to mace him. Then they had to beat him up. And then, yes, they put him in an unmarked car. So because of that, the Department of Homeland Security, they made KTLA add a correction to their article where they said, he assaulted federal law enforcement with a weed whacker. With a weed whacker. Perhaps the mainstream media would like our officers to stand there and be mowed down instead of defending themselves. DHS posted to X on Monday along with a 7-second video where he is seen running from agents, waving a weed whacker overhead as an agent pepper sprays him. I don't know, man. I don't think he was running from the agents. If you're watching on the stream, you tell me what it looks like. It looks like he's running towards the agents with a weed whacker and pointing it at them as he's then being pepper sprayed. Would you classify that as running towards the agents with a weed whacker? I feel like he was running towards the agents.
Yeah, it looks like he's running towards them.
I don't know what you're supposed to take from that if you're a Border Patrol agent. Hey, here comes the nice guy with a weed whacker. Let's wait and see what he wants. No. Pepper spray and beatdown. That's what he got. That's what he deserves. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Dan Bongino posted over the weekend, and I thought I was going to have a little bit more time to dive into this, but he posted a lengthy update to his X account. Dan Bongino and the FBI, they've been under a bit of scrutiny. A lot of people were like, really? When they said that Epstein killed himself, they said, you sure about that? You sure about that, bud? That was the collective answer. When they said, no, Epstein really did kill himself. Really? It kind of gave people a little bit of pause with the FBI. Did it give you a little bit of pause? It gave me a little bit of pause. But Bongino wants to keep you informed. Now, I like Dan a lot. I really do. I loved his radio show, and I think that he's a good pick for deputy director. That being said, posted this long update, and I want to read it to you because I think it's worth highlighting what they've done at the FBI. So he wrote, update, as I wrap up my 3rd month in the deputy position in your FBI, I want to update you on some of the actions the director and I have taken to reform the FBI while keeping the heat on violent criminals, terrorists, and foreign threat actors. Some of these actions you may have read about, some you may have not. Operation Restoring Justice apprehended 205 child sex predators and 764 purveyors while rescuing 115 children. Operation Sotierra Shield resulted in the apprehension of 244 child predators, and 109 children were rescued. This is just the beginning. If you're preying on children, we're coming for you. Pedos put on notice by Bongino. Thank you. He goes on to say, we warned those violently acting out in the recent riots that we would not tolerate it and we would not forget. Over 700 arrests have been made in coordination with our federal and state partners. Many of those arrests are members of organized groups, Antifa. And we're pouring through data in pursuit of more bad actors. We're not done. We're in the process of identifying and moving in on those who threw rocks at law enforcement and damaged property. I told you we would not forget. I was not kidding. Stay tuned for more. And there's going to be a lot more. I mean, you saw the videos coming out of L.A. and these different protests. The ones that were visited by the Brick Ferry, just affectionately visited. Just, ooh, little bricks for you. Been a good boy all year. Here's some bricks. The Brick Ferry visited those, and individuals took advantage of the Brick Ferry to drop off the bricks. Those individuals are being tracked down and identified. He goes on to say, we're making progress on a number of high-profile cases. Ready for this? Including the COVID cover-up. Ooh, do tell more. The Dobbs leak. Yup, need that. And the pipe bomb investigation and more. More updates coming. All right, we'll be patiently waiting for that. He said, we also located and apprehended 3 of the FBI's top 10 most wanted and hope to have more updates very soon. In conjunction with our federal partners, we apprehended, imprisoned, and deported thousands of illegal aliens. Many of these illegal aliens had extremely violent criminal histories. We told you that the rioting was not going to slow us down. It has not. We are fully engaged. Awesome. Awesome. He says we made numerous personnel changes to the leadership of the FBI, about time, and we reorganized the structure of the FBI to ensure the mistakes of the past are corrected, penalized, and not repeated. We're closing the FBI headquarters and building and moving to an alternate location, which will save the taxpayers billions of dollars. Thank you. We're also moving people out of headquarters and those assignments and back into operational law enforcement and counterterror roles. We arrested multiple foreign intelligence targets that were engaged in illegal activities which presented a danger to the homeland. Many of these critical cases were covered by media. Some will not be made public. We're in the process of rolling releases on items of public interest as we add resources to our transparency reform efforts. We completed the JFK files, the RFK files, the China 2020 election IR, and we're rolling out much more on January 6th, Crossfire Hurricane, and more. Nothing on Epstein, though. Nothing on Epstein. But he said we're rolling out a nationwide summer violent crime crackdown as the murder rate plummets to an all-time low. We will not let up. We're making changes to the hiring process and the physical fitness requirements. We're eliminating DEI and getting the FBI back to its root, chasing criminals and terrorists. We're remaining hyper-vigilant in protecting the homeland, given the current global climate, while we deal with investigations related to the rioting, the Washington, D.C. murders, the Palm Springs bombing, the Boulder attack, the Minnesota murders, and our daily casework. There's a lot more to be done, a lot. Stay tuned on disclosures and the public corruption fronts. For those who have been patient with us, thank you. For those who are out of patience, thank you too. Believe me, we understand. God bless America and all those who defend her. My biggest thing that I wanted to take from this was right there at the end. For those of you who are out of patience, thank you too. Believe me, we understand. There's a massive mess that they need to clean up at the FBI. This is no small feat, no small undertaking, and at least the FBI leadership acknowledges that, and they understand where you're at. That being said, are we going to get Epstein files? I don't know. Probably not. I know. It sucks. It sucks. What are you going to do? Let's take the wins where we can. Getting a lot of pedos off the street, huge win. Huge win. I got another story for you here in the lightning round. This time, Governor Janet Mills, Janet Mills, who she's gotten into it with Trump a bunch, and it's all about the boys and girls sports, right? It always comes back to boys and girls sports with Governor Janet Mills. You may remember this exchange that Donald Trump had. They had all the governors from across the states for a bit of a luncheon with the president right when he was elected, and he had this exchange with Governor Janet Mills of Maine.
I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, Your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports, so you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
I mean, he's just an absolute savage. He's also a predictor of the future. Governor Janet Mills, she was out and about today, and she was greeted with some intense heckling over men in women's sports. Weird. Even the very liberal population of Maine, this is an 80-20 issue. Nobody wants the boys in the girls' locker room. Nobody wants the girls getting injured on the field. Yet Governor Janet Mills of Maine has no idea about that. She doesn't understand what the voters of Maine want. Maybe she'll understand after today. She was at the Maine Moose Lottery in her hometown. This is in her hometown. And they got a podium there set up for her. She's going to say some remarks. And she wasn't exactly greeted with cheers.
So please welcome Governor Mills.
Oh, well, that's not good.
I'm not reading your name. Maybe I won't read any names.
And then she walks away from the podium like, oh, you're not going to let me speak? I'm not going to hang out here. I'm not going to hang out. What are you doing, lady? So she walks away, and then she comes back to the podium. Wait for it. They love her.
If you're going to be rude, I'm not.
If you're going to be rude, I'm not going to speak. If you're going to be rude, how about you don't let dudes in the girls' locker room? I mean, it's really simple, right? Is that not like, it's the most simple thing. It should be very simple. If you're going to be rude, I'm going to leave. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. Bye-bye. 615-737-9986. If you want to weigh in with a last-minute hot take during the lightning round. James, what's your hot take, man? What do you got?
So with all the removal of DEI in the federal government, why do we still allow it in the state of Tennessee? At the BNA airport that's owned by the state of Tennessee, there's DEI programs all over the place. You get special treatment for leasing and special accommodation and lower pricing if you're of a minority group. You get special recognition. Why do we still allow that in the airport? If we're removing it from federal government and stuff, why is the state of Tennessee allowing it?
That's interesting. Where'd you see it in the airport?
You can look it up on the Nashville Airport website under ABDC.
All right, man. I'll definitely look it up, and I'll dive right into that. I appreciate the call. All right, 615-737-9986 if you want to weigh in. I got a couple more stories here in the lightning round. If you remember, Mayor Brandon Johnson out of Chicago, he said that Donald Trump was trying to, and I quote, he was going to erase black existence. He's on a mission to erase black existence. He said this on CNN. It's so outrageous. Even the CNN host had to be like, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor. He's not trying to erase black existence, is he?
It's wrong. He's working to eliminate black history. He is trying to eliminate black existence from this country, but he's also attacking the LGBTQ+.
I wouldn't say he's trying to eliminate black existence.
We're going to bring people together in this country to make sure we build the safest, most affordable big city in America.
The safest, most affordable big city in America. That's what he's trying to do. He's really worried about Donald Trump eliminating black existence, though. It's tough. It's Orange Man. Does anybody know where Donald Trump was over the weekend? Because we're going to need an alibi, because I don't know if you saw this. 23 people were shot over the weekend in Chicago. And I would have to think the number one suspect for Mayor Brandon Johnson would be Donald J. Trump, the man who's trying to eliminate black existence in Chicago. And what was that thing he said he wanted to do at the end there of the clip? He wanted to make Chicago something city. What is it? Is it a safe city?
Most affordable big city in America.
The safest, most affordable big city in America.
We build the safest, most affordable big city in America.
Oh, does this work into that plan somehow? Is that 23 shot over the weekend in Chicago? Mayor Brandon Johnson is so worried, again, about Donald Trump eliminating black existence. Doesn't seem to give a damn himself. ABC reported this in Chicago. 23 people were shot, 2 of them fatally, Friday through Saturday alone in Mayor Brandon, Chicago. Maybe instead of worrying about Donald Trump, you should just worry about your own city. Maybe things would go a little bit better for you. I don't know. It's a crazy idea. It's crazy. It's radical. but what you're doing isn't working. So maybe try something different. 6:52. My name's Chris Hand. I'm in for Matt Murphy all week long. Appreciate you hanging out with us. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for Grace Point Healthcare. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, convenient, and comprehensive medicine delivered the old-fashioned way, a direct pay format. Why is that important? One, it helps you know exactly what you're spending on your medical care when you go to the doctor. Number two, they never let insurance companies get in the way between you and the doctors that serve you at Grace Point Healthcare. That's important to me, and it should be important to you, and I think it is, because you want to make sure that the doctor's making decisions that are right for you, not right for the insurance company. Plus, Grace Point Healthcare treats the whole body with comprehensive medicine and a comprehensive approach. They get to the root of the problem. They don't just address the symptoms. Also, no wait times at Grace Point. You call, and oftentimes you get in same day or next day, even for brand new patients. Give a call and see the Grace Point difference. They're located in the heart of Franklin, 599-6868. That's 599-6868. You really can afford exceptional medicine at your convenience. It's Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way.
6:58, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Matt Murphy's not here. Matt Murphy spent 5.5 hours in surgery today. Oh my gosh! Prayers up for Matt Murphy. We got any prayer warriors out there? Matt's gonna need some comforting. If you can say a prayer for him. 5.5 hours in shoulder replacement surgery. Unbelievable. Wishing Matt a speedy recovery. He's gonna be back next week. I'll be filling in for you all week long. My kids have been really excited. Like, Dad, we get to listen to you on the afternoon show. I said, I know. And then as soon as the night guy starts yelling, that's when you know it's bedtime. That's what I told him. I said, as soon as the night guy starts yelling, that means it's bedtime. Will Mark Levin be happy today? Angry today? Wait, what? Somebody needs to check on Mark. I'm going to be listening intently. Is he happy about the strikes and mad about the ceasefire? Is it all upside down for Mark Levin right now? We're all going to find out together. Mark Levin's in next. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.